We got to get back on the fucking ball. We're live again. This is Wrestling with Savage Take 2, and we're live, and there is no going back. And hopefully, when I say the name Crowbar, you there, brother?
I'm here.
And Crowbar is here.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
Crowbar, watch my entrance.
Why are you yelling? I'm excited.
Nice stiffy.
Pedigree, 1, 2, 3, proud to you live by the champ. Her last ride straight to hell, a tombstone, a choke slam. Here to give it to you raw. This is Wrestling with Savage. Smackdown, hold the title. This is Wrestling with Savage. What?
Wrestling with Savage begins now.
Yeah, and Wrestling with Savage does begin here. Now I'm here with Tom, Tom, Crowbar. It's an honor to have you here. I appreciate you. What's going on, man? Guys? How you doing tonight?
Doing good. Just finished watching this week's episode of The Mandalorian just prior to getting on here with the family. So it's a good night.
Then you will die.
Mandalorian versus Darth Vader. Who's winning that fight?
Who?
Mandalorian versus Darth Vader.
Oh, you're not beating Vader.
Not beating Vader, not even close. I mean, he's good.
Nah.
But, yeah, Mandalorian.
Being realistic here.
I'm gonna on that later tonight, man. I love that show. That's one of my favorite shows. What's your favorite Disney show of all time? Because I know you're a big Star Wars guy. Might as well just get into your Star Wars love now and get out of the way, because I know you're surrounded by Star Wars.
I'm surrounded by right now. My favorite Disney show to date has been the Mandalorian series. It's pretty awesome. I've liked them all, but that's probably my favorite.
Yeah, Mandalorian is up there. Boba Fett was good. Tom, what do you like better, Boba Fett or Mandalorian? Or
Andor was my favorite.
Andor was good.
Yeah,
Andor was good. It was better than like 90% of the other crap on TV right now. Everybody should get Disney Plus, and everybody should come on down to the independent shows where Crowbar is killing it across the tri-state, across the country, across the world. In New Japan for over 30 plus years, this man has had a hell of a career, and we're going to check it out right now on Wrestling with Savage. But first, let's talk about you and the most important person in your life, right? Your wife that you met right after your WCW run. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your partner in life and what you guys are doing today?
I had been released from WCW, and I was home, and on a whim, I took a drive down to the ECWA in Wilmington, Delaware, one of my old stomping grounds, just to say hey and see what was going on, visit some friends. And on that night, she was going to be wrestling Dawn Marie at that time, who was with the WWE. And we met, and we just clicked, and one thing led to the other, yada, 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 over 22 years later, here we are.
Nice story, man. Wrestler too, so she can beat you up.
Absolutely, and I encourage that.
Nice, man. And you guys work together in the physical therapy practice and just kill it, and you're killing it, obviously. I mean, you're putting in the work. You were supposed to possibly, from what I heard, work with the WWE and be on the road and help train all the wrestlers with physical therapy and all that stuff.
It was spoken about, just never came to pass.
Never came to pass.
I was doing TV work for them, and on one night, I believe Road Dogg had an injured hip or something like that. I wrapped him up, and he was able to compete, and he thanked me. Vince McMahon actually thanked me, and I was speaking with Jim Cornette and Jim Ross. At that time, there was no on-the-road trainer for the guys. They had no services at all, so they were discussing. At that time, I was still full-time in school, that when I graduated, I could possibly go and work, be the on-the-road physical therapist as well as an opening match guy, and it just never transpired.
Wow, that's crazy that you got the thank you from Vince, though. But we saw over here in the screenshot, you helped Anthony Bowens, he's
awesome. I love
He's a big deal right now, right? Big guy.
Absolutely.
They're killing it, too. What was this like,
one of my
bringing him back to life?
Yeah, awesome dude.
That's awesome, man. I mean, they can see here that obviously you get the job done with the talent in the ring. They could use you at the WWE in many ways, I'm sure. So Vince, if you're out there and it's just a text to Triple H, just No, just say Crowbar. I know who you're talking about. You know who else knows who Crowbar is? That's this guy, Jim Cornette, absolute legend in the ring. And you have a hell of a story and a hell of a history with this guy. And you guys go back a long time. I want you to tell me a little bit about this picture and what Jim Cornette means to you. What do you think of his day-to-day life right now, where he's just like, doing his thing with a Cornette experience, and, he's just killing it still?
At that time, Jim Cornette was working with the WWE, but he also did a lot of work for a local promoter, the famous Dennis Carluzzo, who ran out of New Jersey and up and down the East Coast. And at that time, he was the guy that ran the NWA. So he would bring Cornette in often, and he would manage me and my partner, Ace Darling. And Jim Cornette was also responsible for bringing Ace and I in for the WWF's light heavyweight division. So I've known Jim a long, long time. He's given me tons of opportunities. I can't say enough nice things about him. He's done so much for my career, so much to help me. And he is actually responsible for the Timeless moniker, whether he remembers it or not.
Wow. Yeah, that I had heard about that, and that's got to be like wild to have Jim Cornette have that personal touch on your career, like the Timeless one. He just sees you, says, "God damn, well, shit, here's the Timeless one," and you come in and you go to work.
Yeah, he had brought me into Ring of Honor to do TV in Baltimore, and that was in 2012, I believe. And I was just getting changed in the back. I had all my gear on. I guess I'd been training well, tanned, whatever. And he walks by, takes a double take, and something to the flavor was, "Why, goddamn, the Timeless Devon Storm." And it
just stuck with you.
It always stuck with me, and I stored it back here. And fast forward 7-8 years later, and I like to think that I do stuff that's uncanny for an individual my age, and after now 32 years in the wrestling business, and I took it out of storage, and I'm using it as a moniker right now.
I can't blame you. You got a fan in here right now. Hey, I'll show you who it is.
Wrestling.
Oh my God. That's Mick. That's Mick Thomason right there. He always talks about you. He's a big fan of yours.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
He's here. He's watching the show. Well, let's get back to this. I mean, you had a hell of a start to the career. You did your thing. You trained with Mike Sharp. You were all over the place, and you made it to the big time fairly early. It's crazy that you make it there early. And what you've done over the last 30 years, your body of work can be compared to anybody that's ever laced a pair of boots in any ring in the world, anywhere.
Thank you,
dude. You guys killed it, man. Look at you, young buck over there. How old are you in this picture?
I'm probably, if I had to guess, maybe 21 or 2. And those early years of my career, I was pursuing my wrestling dreams as well as going to school full time. So it was a crazy time for me. I literally had no social life outside of when I was able to hang out with the guys in the locker room or go out and grab a bite to eat. During the week, it was school and it was the gym. And then come the weekend, it was independent shows. And come Monday morning, repeat.
Yeah. That
was the time when there was no online classes. You had to physically go. So it was a grind.
Learn.
Yeah.
You had to go and learn. Otherwise, you weren't learning a damn thing. That's the way it is. Back then, and I think that's the biggest problem with wrestling today. And I we're going to steer off a little bit, but I think all these young guns over there, they see everything on the internet now. The phone is smarter than mom and dad. They don't really want to hear anybody's opinion. What's your take on that with wrestlers, young wrestlers who don't want to listen to the veterans, like, maybe a CM Punk or a Crowbar?
I have my own views on it, and also how I carry and conduct myself around that. When I came up, we were like Ace Darling and myself were the opening match on almost every East Coast independent show for a while. And we were the young guys. We were going out there doing the exciting moves, the drop kicks, the moonsaults, Frankensteiners, all that type of stuff. And we were either working with each other as opponents or as a tag team. And a lot of the veterans didn't like it at that point. We always heard, first match, you shouldn't even be hitting in the ropes. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be climbing up, blah, blah, blah. You're killing the business. So I've heard all those things. And at that time, I didn't talk back. There were veterans that wanted to be helpful and give sound advice. And it was just a chore. You know, you just had to take it all in, take what made sense and that was helpful and what you could use to help you, and filter out the jealous or disgruntled horseshit. And there was both. And it was your job to kind of figure out what was useful, what wasn't useful. In this day and age, I offer advice when I'm asked. I often don't offer advice unless I know somebody very, very well and I'm really trying to help them. But if I vaguely know somebody, I mind my own business. I don't jump in. When I work somebody, as I'm calling master, there's a lot of things after 32 years I think I know well. But wrestling has evolved and it has changed. And if you ask any of these younger guys that I speak with, I'll call something, I'll say, hey, I have an idea. What if we slow it down, and add an extra beat, for lack of a better word, here. And then I'll always say, you guys are doing this a whole lot more than me now. If I'm off, or if that sounds like we're adding too much in, or if it's too old school, I say, rake my eyes and let me know that I'm wrong, and let's do something that looks right. So I was open to hearing it from the veterans way back then, and I like to give advice now if asked, but I also ask for advice because these guys are out there a lot more and they're doing a more modern style of wrestling too. So it goes both ways.
Awesome.
That's a great point. I mean, that you just explained it perfectly, and how a lot of people should just look at it. A lot of people complain and, you know, this and that. Just let's all get along. Let's all be safe. Let's make money. Let's work, you know, hard and put on a good show and get the job done. Give the fans something to remember. You know, there's things you'll see at like even an independent show, and it will stay with you the rest of your life. You know, so, you know, no matter where you are, whether it's at WrestleMania or the local gymnasium, you go out there, you be safe, you work hard, and you have a great match, a memorable match. That's great advice. You know, enough of this talk. Why don't we actually watch a little bit of Crowbar so we can all, like, really, if you haven't been introduced to him, you should be watching.
Oh my God! Oh no, Crowbar gonna rip his body! Crowbar off the apron. Oh shit! Huge dive! Unbelievable position. Oh, what has he got? Up and over, plunges to the floor.
Powerful shot that we saw this earlier too.
Wow, Northern Lights. Well, he's doing that right to his neck, and he still manages to hook the leg.
What's your
No, there's no way a man of this size. Oh my God!
Well, maybe it was a little different than the last time you saw him. Let's take it to Bobby Cruz.
Here comes Crowbar. Look at that athleticism from the longtime veteran, and a clothesline. Gonna try that power bomb perhaps, but no! Face! He has a 5 count, shut up!
Now, listen, personally, I really enjoyed that last footage right there. You know why? Because that Rick Recon, that's Dave LaGreca's guy. And as far as I'm concerned, Dave LaGreca thinks he's manager of the year, Crowbar. That's what he thinks. But the real problem is, I haven't managed there yet. But when I do, that whole manager of the year business for him is over.
That sounds like a challenge to me.
Oh, it is a challenge. Yeah. Listen, when it comes to wrestling, it doesn't matter how long Dave has been a fan. He's never taken a bump. Not like a real bump.
I've taken the
has,
lean, though. I have taken the lean. You got to watch out for that lean.
If he does that lean the wrong way one more time, he's on his way to like the disabled clinic or something. He better be careful, or Violetta's going to have a lot of work on her hands for days. Have you met Violetta? He does have a lovely wife, just like
she's awesome.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
How she puts up with Dave LaGreca, it's a miracle. Dave is a lucky man, and he should count his blessings in marriage and in ISPW, because his time as manager of the year is absolutely over, Crowbar. And there's nothing he can do about it, because when my guy gets there, it's a wrap. And you might know my guy. I'm not going to drop any names right now, but I got someone I'm working.
I have a feeling I know who he is.
Yeah, you might. You just might. But why don't we watch more? Because one video is not enough, Crowbar. One interview is not enough. Your career has been so long and magical that it would take literally
2 years, man. It's crazy.
Fucking insane, bro. I don't understand how you still fucking go the way you do. But when you told me your story and what you do for a living and how you put in the work and you studied hard and you wrestled and you went to school and you did your thing, and I heard that you had a problem in ECW because there everybody wanted to party. And you were just trying to study, and
I didn't fit the culture there too well.
yeah, I heard about that. You should have took that textbook and just whacked Taz over the head, beat the shit out of New Jack, and slapped Sabu silly. That was funny, man. How long was your run in ECW?
About a year, roughly about a year. I had done some stuff with WCW first, and I was brought in and. Just never quite fit in. I outside of Tommy Dreamer, who was always a smiling, happy face that I could always talk to and hang with. I was probably the most hated guy in that locker room. I really can't quite explain it. That's
gotta be rough. That's gotta be rough. That's a rough.
Just let's say I didn't quite fit the culture.
What was your relationship like with this man?
He booked me to come in. At the time when I was there, every one of my checks cleared, so it was great. I had no issue with it at all. At that time, I would have liked to have been used better, but in hindsight, when I look at the wrestler I was then compared to the wrestler that I became later on in WCW, and now I probably wasn't ready for that to be used better. So hindsight's always 2020. So it was a great learning experience. It was very rough being the odd man out in the locker room, but at the same time, it made me a better person in wrestling and life. It really made me question, because it was rough. They hated me there. So often I'd ask myself, do I really want to do this? Or I really want to go down to this weekend? Should I keep pushing? Should I keep going? And when I would think about it, ultimately the answer was always yes. And it helped me grow a thicker skin, and it really helped me to realize how bad I wanted to do this. And that prepares you for other challenges in wrestling and in life. So again, while at that time it was not the best experience, it helped shape who I am, made me a great person in wrestling and in life. So I wouldn't change a thing.
What was the reason, Savage? What was the reason for you not fitting into the culture? Was it because you were going to school at the time and
that was part of it? I think I would get there. I would get there early. I really never went out with the guys. I would go back to my room and I would study. And
which was smart,
because he didn't want to party. He was trying to do something with his life. He didn't want to drink booze and go out and party.
And I was probably the first guy.
And
I was probably the first guy to bring a video game system to the hotel room. So I would go back to my room. I would study. I would take a video game break. I had my Sega Genesis or original Nintendo plugged into the TV. One night I was invited out. There's no need to say who it was, but I didn't go out. I had my Sega Genesis kicked across the hotel room because I didn't want to go out. So, it's all in all, it was just a good life experience.
Did it still work?
Yes, it did still work.
There you go. Back then, today that would not be the case.
Oh, absolutely not.
Not the case at all. All right, so let's watch more Crowbar. Let's see what this is. I think this is some of your WCW stuff right here.
Reasonable, mature adults do well. Let's see the best of the
this is a little highlight I put together for you. Let's see.
looking all straight. That's the cheap range. He's looking scary. I mean, I'm for a powerbomb here. There you go.
This situation's crazy.
Oh my God.
That's fucking sick. That's fucking sick, dude. You're in a video game. We gotta talk about this. What the fuck, man? I saw this.
Oh shit! Huge diving.
Look at these shots.
Jesus, you hear that one?
Look at these. Woo! Look at that shot.
Holy shit!
Holy shit!
Damn.
Oh no, Crowbar got a risk it. They're crowded.
1 inches, 232.
Looking to do more damage.
Off the ropes.
I love that. That looks so
up.
soft.
Look, he got out of the sky high, but look at
Neckbreaker with that straight jacket. And look at this continue. Try that power bomb perhaps, but no!
And that may be triple mini of the finest bikinis in the Fredericks catalog.
Body slam by Bob Holly right there. Damn, man. That's like it's a hell of a career right there in a small little package clip right there. But you can
Really
see
cool. It's been a hell of a ride. I have no idea exactly what it is exactly I'm doing right now, but I'm having a whole lot of fun.
World Wrestling Federation, though. What was it like working for them? And, you know, what was your experiences with, was this man there when you got there, or was he already in WCW?
He was already in WCW.
All right, so you didn't get any experiences with him in the WWF.
No.
But who did you work with in the WWF that like stuck out to you as someone that maybe is still a lifelong friend? You made a good connection with anybody?
Didn't really make many longtime friends there, but I got to wrestle John Cena before they brought him up, which was kind of
Holy
neat.
shit, that's cool.
When wrestled him in Philadelphia when he was still the prototype, so that's kind of neat.
Wow.
You know, they had that to the resume, and I got to wrestle at Madison Square Garden in a dark match against El Gran Apollo. You know, which was just getting to wrestle at the Garden was awesome.
That's gotta be like top of the line.
Whether you say WWF, WWE, WCW, extremely grateful for all those opportunities. Little kid from New Jersey that grew up just loving wrestling. I would have been satisfied just to lace up a pair of boots and go to wrestling school and do a few independent shows. I've done way more than I ever expected to, and I'm just super blessed and just thrilled to have been able to do what I've done.
How about that WCW run, man? Anybody from WCW stand out to you as someone that was maybe a mentor, or, you know, I'm sure you loved your WCW run better than the WWF run. So tell me just totally a little bit about WCW, brother.
There were so many people that helped me out there. Kevin Sullivan, Jimmy Hart, Diamond Dallas Page was instrumental in getting me my job there. Eric Bischoff signed my first contract. And that really changed my whole life. It wasn't a huge contract, but at that time I saved it all. And I make it a point whenever I see Eric Bischoff at a wrestling con or something like that, I always make it a point to go up and thank him. That opportunity he gave me, I took that money, I saved it. It was a down payment on my first house, and it really gave me a head start in life. And he hired me. He also fired me later, but wrestling is finite. It's not forever. And for that opportunity, how can I have anything bad to say about that guy? Just very, very thankful. And, you know, I always make it a point to thank Eric Bischoff for that deal.
All right, Tom, what's your comment, brother? I know you got something for Crowbar.
Yeah, you mentioned the prototype before. Believe it or not, I watched an interview that you did with Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer back in 2001. Okay. You specifically talked about the prototype, and you actually put him over before anybody knew who this guy was. You were like clairvoyant almost in how you were telling Meltzer about this guy. And I'm sure you haven't heard this interview in 20 years. So, you know, you knew.
Yes. I knew immediately that he was magic. Yeah, the guy was great.
Crazy run that you had. You were working with all kinds of talent right there. You guys had a good look too, good thing going on. Championship. You had gold in your hand. There's a contrast picture just to see then and now, and you're still doing it at maybe even a higher level because your ring IQ has got to be at an all-time high.
I like to think that I'm doing it at a higher and better level now than I was back then. And I say that
it's hard to argue that because I've watched you personally.
Yep.
I've watched you over the last year have matches in such impressive fashion, and your ability to work and keep people safe, yet make it look like they got killed is it's nice to see. It's a rarity sometimes.
That's what it's about. Yep.
What you got about Vince Russo, man? I know him and Cornette, right? They hate each other like with a passion. And I mean, I don't know if you heard this. Do you listen to the Cornette show?
I can neither confirm or deny that he is my current replacement for the Howard Stern of old.
Okay, yeah, because I've heard him say things like he is waiting for Vince Russo to die so that he can go and urinate on his
Let me
grave.
just say, Jim Cornette has done so many incredible things to help my career. I love when I see him in person, and I always thank him for everything that he's done for me. He's done so much for my career. Vince Russo, when I was in WCW, I was on the Saturday Night Show as a being groomed to be the next cruiserweight to come up. Vince Russo saw me following a nitro at the hotel restaurant, liked my look, and it was his idea to pair me with David Flair, and it just gave me that huge opportunity, not just to be a wrestler, but to be a wrestling character. And that was something I never expected. So how can I possibly have anything bad to say about Vince Russo? I love Vince Russo too. So love both those guys. They just happen to hate each other. But
yeah, I've heard him
personally,
say
they were both great to me.
They both had their moments. They both did their thing. They're both a part of the history at the end of the day. He had his moments. He has his bragging rights. Some people, they're entitled to their opinion. As long as they're not hurting anybody, I don't really give a shit what they say.
Sure.
Stephen Chambers wants to know if you have any crazy wrestling stories. Maybe just something random no one's ever heard before just because it's so fucking crazy.
I'll try to think of, off the top of my head, it's not really crazy, but every now and again I'll text Mike Tenay. We flew into it was some small town in the Midwest, charter flight, and there was a guy just seeing us out of the terminal. He was sitting at the door. I don't know whether he was a baggage guy or something. And Mike Tenay walks by. He goes, with an approving nod, "Mr. Tenay." And I walk by. He goes, "Mr. Crowbar." And so we still laugh about it to this day, Mr. Crowbar. And it's
Mr.
That's
Crowbar.
just the first thing. Now, but there's a lot of crazy stories, but that's probably the safest one, and like a nice casual chuckle right there.
Oh, he has no crazy stories. He's a married man. He works. He goes home, and that's the end of it, man. He's probably got crazy stories, but they're not for this show, and they're none of your business.
I have a funny one, Savage.
Sure, please.
So it was about 1991, 1992, and my wife is a school teacher in Haledon, New Jersey. And I don't think she was my wife at the time. She was probably just my girlfriend. But she said, someone just came into my classroom, says his name is Devin Storm, and is trying to get my entire class to go to this wrestling show that's happening in Haledon tonight. I said, really? I said, let's get tickets. So we got tickets, and we
That was
went.
a comedy show. Yeah.
And I believe so. And that was the first time I ever saw you wrestle. The main event was Abdullah the Butcher versus Terry Funk.
Terry Funk. Yep.
You remember that?
Yeah.
I do.
Wow.
I wrestled. I think I wrestled Crash the Terminator that night. Bill DeMont.
That's over 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So my wife knew you before I did.
Wow, that's cool.
That's crazy. I was actually going to talk to you about. I have Terry Funk here on my notes. He's towards the end. I was going to ask him about that Terry Funk match. We might come back to it. I'd love to hear more about what you think about Terry Funk, but I wanted to talk about I would compare you to a Chris Jericho because you've had changes, different characters, different looks, different styles, ultimately leading you here to your AEW debut, man. Like, shit is crazy, man. If you guys haven't seen this match, you can look it up on YouTube. Might have some highlights out of it in this video or the next video, but let's watch more of Crowbar before we talk to him about his experience at All Elite Wrestling.
I guess just got thrown into this mix right now.
Terry Funk, his target. They went to the women's bedroom. They went on tables from one of the upper decks.
but in the end, the man who won the title in his bedroom and went on cables from one of the upper decks, but in the end, the man who won the title.
No question about it. Chavo is something special
For the title, look at Chavo go.
Look at Crowbar go. The springboard moonsault. Here tonight. Oh!
Todd, front cantery. Oh, said it could be. Yes!
Oh, the brain buster.
Yo, look at the way he took that brain buster, man. Don't piss me off right now. Do you know how hard it is to take a brain buster that good? I gotta look at it again, man. Look at that shit. That is a solid brain buster, man.
That's not me. That's all Chavo put me in the right place.
Dude,
I'd love to take credit for it, but I can't.
He's a master too, man.
Yes.
I mean, he's been doing it for such a long time. I'm sure that's a memorable match because that was actually a fun match. It wasn't a long match, but it was like a fun match with great spots and just great work.
Love work with
spot
Chavo.
at the end with a chair, and it comes over the top rope, and
Sure.
you don't know he's behind you. Like, it's just a great spot. It was good work.
Thank you.
And let's watch one more. I still got more. I got a lot of clips to show you, actually. But one more, and then we'll get to some other special clips that I put together on YouTube.
I get it. He almost levelized in Crowbar. Lucas, that shot. I don't know how great that is. Ooh, stretching the back. Let's see if he watch Crowbar up and over the top, and he'll come down the line. Slicing leg drop. Slamming his head into the Benedictum. Death belly driver. Death belly driver.
Dude, you're like the dark Chris Jericho. You and him are like twins or something. Like, and like, I need to get you in a ring with Chris Jericho. Tony Khan needs to make that happen. I want to see the Ocho versus Timeless because their careers literally are like right next to each other as far as years and matches and runs. And wow. I think you might even be better than Chris Jericho, the Ocho. So I want to see it. How much would you want to see a match like that happen?
First, let me start. I'm a huge fan of Chris Jericho. As I was coming up, he was there for a short time when I was in ECW. I had followed his Japan stuff. I was one of those guys getting the videos, the sending out for the VHS tapes and watch him on there. Followed him through Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And I think he's an outstanding performer. I watched him evolve, watch him do different stuff, through WCW, WWE, and he's doing incredible stuff. And he continues to do incredible stuff. But if I'm to be fair, I think I do some pretty incredible stuff too. The only difference is I'm doing it on small independent shows. He's on a major TV platform, and that's all well and good, but it doesn't change that what I'm doing. It's just where I'm doing it. And I would love to have a match with Chris Jericho. I think I'm at his level? Yes. Might even be above his level, dare I say. Let's find out. I doubt it would ever happen. That would be an incredible match. I think we could show the people some great stuff, but two people with the amount of time we have in it, the fact that we're still both out there doing it, me doing it as I use the catchphrase at the level that I do, who's better? Who knows?
I mean, last time I checked, this is 2023 I'm watching right now, and that was at Outlaw Wrestling. Shout out to them. But yeah, this is 2023, and you're doing it like that right there. This isn't a highlight film from 10 years ago. This is 2023. So we need to really somehow get Tony Khan's attention, because I saw your match in AEW, which I wanted to, obviously talk to you more about.
Sure.
I compare you to Jericho as far as like the tenure in the career. And, damn, I think you and him are the only ones that are like right now having like that comparison as far as like years in the game and still doing it and doing it at a high level to the point where you got invited to AEW. So quick question from John Gilcher. He wants to know, give two indie names right now that are going to be stars.
Two indie names now that are going to be stars. Wow. Well, there's so many guys that I've worked with. One guy that ISPW uses right now that I'm pretty damn sure, if not in the very near future, eventually. Encore Moore has a great look, takes care of himself, is a great performer. He's young, but he listens, he learns, he has a good attitude about it, and he's only in it a couple years. Encore Moore, definitely one of those guys. Just recently
great pick.
Worked with Marcus Mathers and Rick Recon, I think, was great too. I had a great match with Rick Recon as well. Really good time. Those are two, right? So those are two guys.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rourke too. Great time with him. It's
big fan
really
of Aaron Rourke, man. All those guys you're listing, they're all certifiable and they can get to that next level.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're watching footage right now between you and Aaron Rourke right
there.
Had
a great time working with him.
That was a great match.
That building has such a great energy about it too.
Yeah, I love that building. I'll be there for the entire year, so I'm looking forward to watching a lot more matches there. And I love shout out to Outlaw Wrestling, but you're all over the place. Outlaw, ISPW. Are there some other ones that you're working with that I'm not seeing you at yet?
I mainly stay with Outlaw and ISPW. Occasionally, I have been known to go up for Beyond/Wrestling Open, and I generally stay in the Northeast because of my business, my work and stuff. But if there's a bigger, high-profile show that's out of state, I will make the ride.
You're working with a lot of these young guys too, man, and
I request to work with these guys.
Dude, you're really paving the way over here. Just doing your thing, man. I don't know what's going on here, but it's all right. The match was too good.
Promoters, I say, send me the young lions, man. It's those guys that help push me to be a better performer. Like I said before, I don't know exactly what this is, this resurgence, whatever it is. There's no pressure on it. I'm in business over 11 years with my physical therapy facility. Things are great. We're a solid, secure business. I have many staff members. Things are good. I'm out there wrestling because I choose to wrestle. I really love wrestling. And I get a kick out of, if that's still a term, I get a kick out of being able to run with these guys and keep up with these younger guys. And I enjoy being able to perform at what I call a modernly acceptable level, especially when people don't expect it.
That's a young lion right there, like you like to call him, man. Yeah, Marcus Mathers does have a
rematch in a couple weeks.
That's going to be awesome, man. You guys killed it that time. You've killed it with almost everybody I've seen you in the ring with. Tom, what's some of your favorite Crowbar matches that stick out to you? Maybe, is there any questions you want to ask him right now for a couple of minutes? Tom, I think he's muted. Tom's muted. He's muted. It's all right.
Come on, Toto with Tom.
Come on, Tom.
Sorry about that. I heard I had some feedback, so I wanted to just mute it out. My favorite match for ISPW last year was Crowbar versus Danny Morrison for the heavyweight title in, I think it was Augusta, if I'm not mistaken, Augusta, New Jersey. It was Sussex County. It was in a barn.
Yeah.
I really liked it from the point of view that Crowbar's kids were watching the match along with Danny Morrison's at the same time.
Special. It was cool.
And and also that was the night, I think, of the La Greca-Lean, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
So that actually is my favorite.
That damn La Greca-Lean, man. What an atrocity.
I have to say, Danny Doring and I we're very much responsible for that. We kind of crafted that in the back, and it came to fruition. And for better or for worse, now we have it.
It was tremendous. Another thing I remember from that night, and I don't know if you know this, Crowbar, was Leo Sparrow and GKM. They didn't think they were going over that night, and Tommy told them right when their introduction music went on that they were going over. So that had to be very special. You know, has that ever happened to you before, where someone told you right before you were going out to the ring that you were actually going to win a belt?
Never happened quite like that, but the first time I got called up to Nitro for after I became Crowbar, I had shot the gas station scenes with David and Daphne when I was introduced as the gas pumping guy. Then I showed up next week to TV, and I was wearing a champion shirt. I don't even know if that's still a brand you can buy, but it was a brand like Nike and Adidas and stuff like that. And Mike Tenay,
everybody had a sweatshirt. Yeah.
Mike Tenay comes up to me. He goes, "How'd you know?" And I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about? That what?" He goes, "That shirt. How'd you know?" And the furthest thing from my mind, I didn't even know what was going on that night. I had no idea there was going to be some kind of lethal lottery tag team tournament or anything. And then he goes, "You and David Flair are winning the tag belts tonight," which my mind was blown. It was a mind-blowing experience.
That's awesome, man.
It wasn't right before we went out of the curtain, but it was unexpected, and I found out that day.
So what was it like working that AEW program? And if you did get back to AEW right now, is there anyone specific that you'd want to work with right now, or even WWE? I just want to ask that in general. Who's out there right now, big dog wise, that you would want to work with, like a dream match, let's say?
I'm happy to work with anybody, and I will get into people I like. I enjoy working. I enjoy challenging myself. Big guys, little guys, whatever I got to do to have a great match. We spoke about. I would love to work with Chris Jericho. I would love to work with Dustin. I enjoy watching the young lions, but I also enjoy watching the older guys because I draw parallels to myself, and what I'm doing this many years in. I like watching Dustin. I like watching Jericho. I like watching PCO, Rey Mysterio, Shelton Benjamin, guys like that. Christopher Daniels. I'm hoping that ISPW may be able to throw together a match with me and him. I know Tommy's trying. Kazarian. I think it's really cool when you get two guys that are older that have been around and they go out there and they still tear it up like it was 20 years ago. So any one of those guys, I love basing for the high flyers. So you can name anybody, it's hard to narrow it down to just one. And outside of the big companies, one match that has never happened that a lot of people are shocked. They just assume we have. I would love to work with Rob Van Dam, and that hasn't happened yet either. I think that'd be a hell of a thing. Rob could definitely still go. He's athletic.
To me, that sounds like a match that could sell out an arena, though. Like that sounds like a main event, like a big time main event, man.
Big time for me. I love the way Rob works. I'm a huge fan of his.
He hits hard, though. He's one of the harder hitters. People don't realize how hard he hits.
Yeah, and I'd love to work with Rob. It'd be great.
Rob's sick, man.
I'd gladly take the hard hit. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
He makes everything look great, though. Yeah. Rob's a true
he's amazing.
Pro. Yeah, he's one of my favorites of all time. Innovator, obviously. I put him like right up there at the top 5, top 10 all time with his like just inspiration. Everybody that's doing what they're doing right now, it's based off what Rob Van Dam kind of like did in his ECW run. Like he was going wild with those spots, man.
Absolutely.
Do you remember the Van Terminator?
I do remember the Van Terminator. Amazing.
What was the first thing you thought when you saw the Van Terminator?
That was the across the ring, right?
Yeah.
It was amazing. That was a decent sized ring too. It wasn't one of the 16 footers. That was a big boy ring. So that was amazing to see that distance.
Dude, yeah, that guy killed it, man. I would love to see that match with you. Hopefully you don't get hit with the Van Terminator. Just watch out for that. You should be good. Whenever he comes, brings the chair in, you just go get one yourself. Don't let him. Don't go near him with the chair.
I'm very well versed with the chair myself these days.
I've seen it, man. Well, your name's Crowbar. Damn it. Maybe you just come up with a real crowbar. Maybe 2 crowbars. Get a baseball bat. Listen, I'll get you a stop sign. Tom will make.
Like I said, all Chris Jericho, Rob Van Dam, Dustin Rhodes. They're all doing amazing stuff. But if you don't sing your praises, who else is gonna? As great as they are, I might be on these little independents, but no one is doing it
can go
at
with all of them,
the level that I do.
And I have it on good authority that this guy right here, Tony Khan, is actually a big Crowbar fan. I think you should just come to Dynamite with me on the 5th, and we just go backstage and demand a Crowbar open challenge on Dynamite because it will be better than anything else they're doing that night. That's what I think. What do you think about that idea?
happy to go and play. You know,
we should go start a riot at the UBS Center. Get 12,000 people to start chanting Crowbar.
I don't think that would happen.
I'll be ringside for that. I'll give you a ticket. You can come. Just go.
Gotcha.
Show up in full gear, though. I mean, we were going all out.
I have a question. When did you start bringing the? I'm assuming it's a Merlot, or is this a rye? I'm hoping it's a dry wine. When did you start bringing that out to the ring?
What? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
The red wine.
That actually started during COVID. Actually, I had 2 matches with my wife and Adam, the bodyguard, Adam Payne Percival, with Ring of Honor, and then COVID hits and all that goes to shit. So during the pandemic, there were shows going on. You know, guys were doing shows. The fans had masks on in some places. I work in healthcare. I have a healthcare facility. And in New Jersey, if you left and you came back, or if you went somewhere like this, you had to quarantine for 2 weeks. So it just wasn't feasible for me to go to shows because I would have to shut down. And, you know, like I said, my main source of income is my business. And that is what empowers me. It what enables me to go and play in the wrestling ring and do it how I want to do it in a no pressure situation. But because of that, during the whole pandemic, I was unable to participate. So I had to find some way to get my wrestling stuff going on. Like I had to feed my wrestling needs. So I had done some Twitter work. I had some wise ass remarks from the fans. So I said, let me be this guy. And actually the character was kind of there with some the feedback from Danny Doring, Bull James and stuff. Years ago, they said, you should be Chris Ford if you were Dick. You know, you got a business, you're doing well, everything's great, but for whatever reason, you have this uncontrollable addiction to this crazy business, and you talk down on the people that like it and are in it. So
that's what it is. It's an addiction, man. You can't get over it easy.
So
that's why
I had to find a way to do.
Man. It's like crack. I know the feeling. I used to have it, man, and I got it again. It's a fucking problem. God damn it.
So for a year and a half, I'm doing just promos because that's all I can really do. I really can't go out, and I'm chiming in on current events and all kinds of stuff, and I'm being a dick about it. You know, no one wants to see like a guy do a promo and be nice about stuff. So of course I assumed this heel character with the wine and all. I learned how to film and edit myself with some tutoring from one of my favorite people in social media, Robert Frank, one of my favorite people. He gave me a crash course in iMovie over the phone, and I expressed myself in wrestling via these videos for about a year and a half, and that's how I got my character out there. But as soon as I could get out, you know, that only goes so far. You know, I got great reactions for the promos. A lot of people within the industry said how innovative, how different they were, and things like that. And it was really, really cool. But as soon as I could get out there, it became time now to back this up. And I had known the whole time that I could back this up. I have kept myself in shape, weights, cardio, yoga, but for the most part, people really hadn't seen me on a national platform for a long, long time. And a lot of people were under the assumption that I was just some old dude that was going to come in and, you know, do the old guy wrestling match and whatever, and not do much. And the second I got out of the gate, I tore it up and worked hard, and that was the time to go from the promos to actually showing my wares, what I could do inside of a ring.
Yeah, you've definitely done that, man. Let's get you a cheap pop here. Everybody make sure they go follow Crowbar on Twitter. You're going to hit him up on YouTube. He's also on Instagram. And most importantly, go to Pro Wrestling Tees and pick yourself up some merch right now. He's got a nice selection of t-shirts. We got to get some more shirts on there, man. I'm going to make you something. I'm going to make you some designs myself. I got something in mind for you special because I think you can be on that main level with a guy like this. And I want to know what you think about a guy like this, because you were talking about that word promo. That's a word that gets used a lot, especially by someone like me, because I like to cut a promo. What do you think about MJF's promos? Crowbar? Did we lose Crowbar? Is he back? Wait, I hear clicks. He's back.
I'm back.
He's back. How about, did you hear anything I said? Wait, he's gone. He's playing games with me right now. I like it. This could be character. Just fucks with people. Crowbar?
I'm here.
Oh, he is here. Okay. I don't know why it's lagging. What do you think about MJF and his promo abilities?
I think they're awesome. I think he's a great promo. He talks well. I'll be as bold to say I think I've developed a very unique promo ability, the black and white, the music, the way I deliver. If I was given the opportunity to deliver my promos in that fashion on a national platform, I think I could rival the best of them.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. He's a young kid, man. It's crazy that he's even on the run.
Those promos, what I do isn't exactly even a promo per se. It's more of a memorandum. I address, I reflect, and that style that I do, wouldn't work well with a crowd interruption, this and that. I think it would work fantastically, and if an issue was formed with another wrestler over whatever, and this is that, and go do your vignette, boom. And I believe those would honestly rival anybody, and I have the utmost confidence in that as well.
Now you can see the quality in the storytelling when you do those videos. They're very well done. I don't know what camera you're using, but that shit looks crisp as butter, and you just well spoken, and they're different. Yeah, the wine's a nice touch as well. You've been all over the place. Yeah, I wanted to just show a quick screenshot of this. You're one of only 3 people in history to wrestle for like pretty much every major company. Is that correct?
That's pretty cool. Yep.
I mean, look at this. Yeah, look at this career. Look at all these companies you worked for. All these matches you've had, just years and years of matches. Championships too. It's not like you were just having matches. You were getting gold almost everywhere you were going. What's up with the tattoo?
It's been a lot of fun.
Does that tattoo have a story to it?
It absolutely does. I was really good friends with The Wall, Jerry Toot, who was The Wall in WCW, and he went on to be Malice in TNA. And he had a very similar tattoo. It was like barbed wire that was on his chest. I was always a fan of that, and I wasn't gonna copy him exactly. Really great friends. I loved working with him. We started out at Iron Mike Sharp's school together, and unfortunately, he passed away in Japan. And about 8 to 10 years ago, I decided to get a tattoo. I like the general shape of that. His was barbed wire. Mine is in tribal writing. But if you really look at it, what it is, it's my son's name, my daughter's name, and my wife's name down the middle.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Actually, that's
my family.
So you go out there and you represent that well every single night. I know we were talking a little earlier. You wanted to touch on Mike Bennett over here, who had something to say about basically wrestlers, veteran wrestlers talking, about young wrestlers. Why is this guy talking like this? Does it bother you?
It doesn't bother me. If you were to ask me as a fan what I would watch as a wrestling fan when I do cardio, if I'm not looking to learn, if I'm not looking to pick up moves, if I'm not looking to stay current with today's product, if you ask me what I would like to watch as a fan, it would look a lot like the wrestling that Jim Cornette likes and that he promotes. that's the kind of wrestling I like, that late 80s, that that early mid 90s style. And that's what I like. That being said, if you want to be out there, I'm trying to evolve with the business. I'm trying to evolve as a wrestler because I enjoy it. I like to be out there and I like to be able to perform on a modern level. So although I might like that style as a fan, I'm well aware that wrestling has changed. You can't hold a guy in a hold and for too long. You can't. You have a limited amount of time to tell a story in a match. So you either have to evolve with the new ways, and the fans expect more impact. I remember calling the match with Joey Janela, and we had a few ideas, and I remember him saying, that's great what you're saying, but these fans want impact. They want spots, boom, boom, boom. And he helped me realize what we had to do for that night, and the audience liked it a lot. When I came up, there were always veterans, and they would give criticism, some of it constructive, some of it destructive. They didn't, some were trying to be helpful, some were trying not to be helpful. For myself, for Mike Bennett, for any wrestler out there that's getting advice from an older wrestler, listen to it all. Take what's useful, figure out what's useful, take it and figure out how you can make it useful. Filter out what's destructive bullshit that's just there to break your balls, but don't be quick to dismiss something as destructive or demeaning bullshit. Really think about it and see what you could take from all these comments. Can you take something positive from a negative comment? This has nothing to do with a comment from an older wrestler, but years ago, I did a show. It was probably in 2008. I had taken a lot of time off. Work was really, really crazy. I was probably off for 10, 11 months, and I did a show, and I saw a review online, and it said, wow, Crowbar sucked. The Devon Storm of old is definitely gone. He's fat and out of shape and slow. Now, I could have got mad at that, but I saw that it was true. As bad, as sour of a pill as that was to swallow, that guy was true. And at that point in time, that got me off my ass and made me realize that if I was going to do this, if I was going to continue to go out there, represent myself, that I had to get back in shape and start taking things more seriously. Job or not, I had to find time. If I was going to go out and indulge and enjoy professional wrestling, I had to get back in shape. So what I'm trying to say is, I don't know who Mike Bennett spoke to or whatever, but take it all with, analyze everything you're told. Find out what's right, find out what's wrong, and try to find lessons even in the things you think that are wrong. And, the stuff that can always make us better. Like I said before, I come up with ideas, or I do something on a video and I'll send it to a guy that's my senior, a veteran to me. There's other guys that have been around, and I'll say, what did you think of this? Do you think this was good? Do you think that was good? I'll send it to guys like Joey that are younger than me, and I'll say, as far as modern wrestling goes, what do you think of this? Does it fit? Is it too much like this or that? So I think as a whole, we all have to get less, don't so much, don't get angry, just take the comments, take the good stuff, filter out the bad stuff, and figure out what is, what's going to help you. Does that make sense? I can't hear you.
Yes. Yeah,
that's great advice, man, to anybody that wants to learn about life in general. That's just a good take on everything, man. You got big things coming. Outlaw Wrestling's going to have Rolling Stone there March 18th. That's going to be crazy. They're going to be streaming on their Twitch channel live, which usually averages about 2,000 to 15,000 viewers.
Nice.
So you're going to have a lot of eyes on you that day. They're going to get to see Crowbar in action. I don't know who. Do you know who you're taking on that day?
Do not know yet.
My God, it doesn't matter.
May 18th it is, right?
Yeah, Crowbar doesn't need a lot of notice. Okay, you could call this guy 2-3 hours before the match. It'd be there ready to kick someone's ass.
My first match after the pandemic was the ECWA Super 8. I competed in the very first Super 8 25 years ago. I was at my son's lacrosse game, and my phone went off, and Ricky Morton was having some kind of travel difficulty, and they said, hey, you want to come down? And at that time, I had talked a lot of shit in character, with the wine and this, that, the other thing. And I was excited, but the fact was I had not been inside a wrestling ring in 14 months. And I said, am I ready to do a high profile event like the Super 8 on 3 hours notice? I haven't been in a ring in 14 months. And after some reflection on myself and what's going on, I go, this is God giving me an opportunity to do something I love and to prove that I'm as good as I think I am. And it ended up being a great night, 2 great fun matches, and it was the first of whatever's going on right now.
Yeah, that's insane, bro. Not many people can do that, like, to be honest. But you had a hell of a run in Outlaw. I love Outlaw.
Having a great time.
I like this open challenge thing. I think they need to bring back this Crowbar open challenge. And, we have a new competitor every single month or something. The match with Aaron Rourke was absolutely fire. Everybody should go watch that. You were killing it at ISPW as well. Absolute bangers. You had a banger with Alpha Jr. And March 24th, you're taking on Rick Recon.
Part 2.
Again, part 2. And Rick Recon, like I said, you need to make him pay, okay? I was there for this match, okay? And Rick Recon's not nice. Dave LaGreca's not nice. They are what we like to call in the business trolls. All right, they're trolls, and they're trolling, and I don't like that shit when we don't have a clean match with a clean finish.
I've been guilty of that myself though too. So I'm not overly nice.
That's okay. Okay. Listen. You do what you got to do when you got to do it. But in this case, I don't like it when they do it against fucking Crowbar. They want to screw someone else. That's fine, but you don't screw Crowbar.
Yeah,
Crowbar is one of my guys.
Yes,
I'm a Crowbar.
I go with that. I'm good with that. Yeah.
Crowbar, I have a question. Today's, standard seems to be athletes are now playing well into their 40s, due to like diet and, yoga. What have you done at this point in your life? Have you changed your diet? I heard that you also do yoga. What are the things that have enabled you to perform at this level at your age?
Well, my wife is a registered dietitian, which is great. So we have to eat well. I chalk a lot of it up to my physical therapy knowledge, which has really just added years and years to my career. Often when guys eventually get out of the business or they start doing it less and less, or they start doing less in the ring, it's usually, you see a low back or my neck or my knee, but often it's the low back. And I've talked about this ad nauseum. A lot of wrestlers are great weightlifters. They're proficient in the weight room. They know exercise. Wrestlers often do not seek medical attention right away, and they try to treat stuff themselves. For example, the common misconception is, I hurt my back, so I got to strengthen my core. So these guys do tons of ab work, tons of sit-ups when their back is bad. And depending on what's going on, if you have a bulging or herniated disc and you're doing a lot of flexion-based exercises, you're going to bulge that disc out more. So a lot of gym experience and gym know-how and being proficient in a weight room doesn't make you a diagnostician, and it doesn't render onto you the ability to heal yourself. I've had a lot of small injuries that may have turned into larger injuries with other wrestlers that I've been able to nip in the bud as just given my physical therapy background, I also train extremely safe. Weight room wise, I'm a big machines guy. I'm not a free weight guy. I work out very, very safely. I have my own regimen. I work on balance, which a lot of people don't. There's a handful of really cool balance exercises that I do in between sets at the gym. And just being safe in the ring as well. All those things have contributed to me being able to be out there still and perform at the level that I do.
I think me and Tom need to come visit you, and I'd love to see me and Tom have some of these balance challenges maybe you got for us.
Absolutely.
I think that would be great. Tom, would you like that? Maybe we could film that. Balance challenge with Crowbar. Right, I'm serious about that. We got to set that up because balance is key when you're a wrestler. That's one of the big things, especially if you want to play with those ropes.
And it's something that as we get older, if we don't use it regularly, it deteriorates.
Yeah. Quick question from one of our members of the Savage Kingdom here. Said you and David Flair had some good moments, especially with Daphne. He wants to know whose idea was it to form and how was it working with the two?
I had been working on WCW Saturday Night, which was like the C show, as Devin Storm, a very dark version of myself, dark hair, velvet tights, and a very aggressive cruiserweight. And I was being groomed to eventually be brought up to the main roster as an aggressive, crazy new cruiserweight guy. At the same time, David Flair was doing the TV. If you go back and check, the story was he was getting a great rating. People liked watching what stalker David Flair was doing. He was stalking women. He was acting like a nut, and he was popping a rating. Unfortunately, David Flair, not a strong in-ring performer. And so they were caught in that situation where we got this guy that's drawing a rating. People tune in to see him, but we really can't put him in a ring because whenever we do, it's not that good. So somebody, as I'm told, came up with the idea, let's put David with a competent wrestler. Let's form a tag team, and we'll let the competent guy do the majority of the in-ring work. And that's how it happened.
Copy that, man. Yeah, well, how could you didn't have the time in the ring to really, get the experience. They just kind of threw him in there, didn't they?
I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we all know wrestling's not something you could just like hop into if you've never done it before over here. Tom wants to make himself the star of the show for some reason. What's up, Tom?
No.
Tom doesn't even know what's happening anymore.
I have no idea. I just went to touch my keyboard and all of a sudden it gravitated over to something else.
Look at this guy. We'll make him the star. It's all about Tom.
Top guy,
Toto Tom. Cut the fucking promo, Toto Tom.
Top guy.
Your mic. He's got a mic from 1987.
I'm going to get body slammed if I don't say this, okay?
Hold on. I got to remove him from the stream. Crowbar. Am I lying or does his mic sound like it's from the Gremlins in 1986?
Yes.
It does, right?
Beagle.
No, he's still talking over there. He doesn't know I removed him, I don't think.
That's fine.
Tom, I think all you have to do for your mic not to sound like it's from Caddyshack is just talk a little lower.
Okay. I'm going to get body slammed if I don't say this. The Kodiak Bear says hello.
He is one of my favorite people on the entire planet. He is
Elaborate.
Such a sweet guy. I know him from when we started way back. We've wrestled each other countless times, trained together countless times, and you just can't find a nicer guy as well. Just a very, very dear friend, one of my favorite people that I've been lucky enough to come across in the pro wrestling after all of these years. Love him to death. Great guy.
I went to school with him.
Awesome guy.
I remember when he broke into the business.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Dude, long career like that, and especially now that you're on the East Coast, you're probably making even more friendships now more than ever because probably fans are reaching out to you that have been fans of yours for like 30 years. And then boom, they just see you have like this banger of a match. It's, it kind of blew my mind when I was like, yo, Crowbar. I was like, I know Crowbar. Crowbar's wrestling tonight? Oh, yeah. Shit. I was like, all right, let's fucking go. I was hyped for it, man. And like I said, the first time I saw you wrestle, I think this was the second time, but this match right here coming up, the rematch with him, you got to get revenge, kick his ass. You also have a match coming up at the Rock and Wrestling that's taking place. That's that big 80s wrestling con. It's going to be a big deal, right? You're taking on Davey Boy Smith Jr. Is this your first time having a match with him?
First time having a match with him. Very, 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 very excited. I've been following his career, seen a lot of his matches. Outstanding performer, and he can go, and he's a great athlete. And again, just another young lion that's going to help me rise to the occasion and perform at a modern level and push me to my limits. I can't wait.
Yeah, Jay, we already covered that already. I mean, just because you're not on the show, Jay's one of my castmates, but we already talked about that. But it is a fact, man. And I don't think Jerry Lynn's in there. I think it's CM Punk. I don't think Jerry Lynn's in that top 3, is he? Did he make it in there? That's a small list. But you got to kick this guy's ass. Do you have any run-ins with Davey Boy's dad? British Bulldog at all?
No,
okay.
Unfortunately, no.
Unfortunately, bro. He was a great worker too, man. Gone too soon.
Outstanding. Like I said, I love watching late 80s, early mid-90s wrestling, and I watch him very often.
Dude, you could have seen him beat Hulk Hogan and believe it. That's how big he was. He was a big guy, not some pushover. But I'm excited about that. You better kick Rick Recon's ass. I'm gonna be there. I'll be screaming wild. I'm gonna be booing the holy hell out of Rick Recon. I'm gonna be booing Dave LaGreca. And if Dave tries anything funny, I might have to smash a Dave LaGreca head right over his fat head.
Those are fighting words.
It is. Dave don't want to fight me. I got about 100 pounds on Dave. Dave don't want this. But you know what else I got? I might have to get to a fight with this guy May 6th. It's going to be a full-time day. I got Marty Jannetty coming down. Rockers. I think he should be a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Do you agree?
Absolutely. The Rockers were a fantastic tag team. They were one of the things that I loved watching at that time growing up. Often, they stopped doing it, but we used to get the house shows on MSG Network in the, northern New Jersey. And I would love it when you would see the Rockers against the Orient Express. And often, too, they would even split them up and they would have 2 singles matches, which was amazing. Yeah. Big fan of Marty, big fan of Sean. The Rockers as a whole, as a tag team, was one of the teams that I really enjoyed watching coming up as a youth.
What did you think about the first time you saw that kick to the face through the window? The breakup of the Rockers.
It was amazing. It was great.
It's still talked about to this day. And
Absolutely.
I let people know that, there's a reason why you want to come meet this man, because without Marty Jannetty, we don't get the Heartbreak Kid.
Absolutely.
He kind of helped seal the deal to make, if anything, Marty kind of made him, man. He sacrificed his whole image so Sean could go and do his thing.
Absolutely.
They kind of recreated that, didn't they, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, they did on NXT. Yeah. They tried at least, but you can't recreate something that magical. That just like they've tried to recreate Hulk Hogan slamming Andre. Crowbar, to you as a fan, what's the moment that sticks out as the iconic moment in professional wrestling history?
As a fan,
yeah.
I was super excited for the weeks and months to build up of Hogan Warrior.
Yeah. No, you're 100%.
That first the Rumble and then WrestleMania. That was awesome as a fan.
Just the whole presentation of a god versus a god. And how is this going to even happen? And not knowing who to cheer for, and then at the end, not even caring who wins because it's so awesome. Just to see it.
As a fan, and also at that time, not being a smart fan, just watching it as a teenager, it was just amazing to watch. It was great.
Yeah, I think there's only one other match that compares in history that had that same kind of vibe, and that would be Hulk Hogan again fighting The Rock.
Yep.
Sure.
I'm sure. Did you watch that match on pay-per-view live?
Fantastic. Yes.
Unbelievable match, man. Do you never miss a WrestleMania?
Life's big asterisk now. Life gets nuts now. Now we got 2 kids. They got all kinds of things to do. We got family stuff. So if I don't watch it live, I'll always see the replay or something. So I'll always check in to see it. Yes.
Well, hey, it's good that you got your priorities in order. Are you going to be there all day at the 80s Wrestling Con?
Yes, I am. Probably being a fan. I went last year. I had a table and I spent the whole day just walking around, just meeting people that I grew up watching. It was awesome.
Definitely pass by, and we'll have to do a video with you and Marty Jannetty, man.
Absolutely.
Maybe you can
I
put him
wrestled
in a
Marty
headlock.
once too. It's somewhere on
Come wrestle him again.
YouTube somewhere.
We're gonna do a whole other thing, man. You guys can beat the shit out of me, hit me with a chair. We'll end it like that.
Absolutely.
Look at this. Your manager right there. Is that what you would call your manager? Is he the guy just walking your bodyguard?
Bodyguard, sommelier, attendant, colleague, lots of titles.
Okay. I wouldn't want to fuck with that guy. Look, he's a big guy.
Personal. He's a big dude.
He's a big dude. What do you weigh, like 350?
I think more. We're real cool story there too. He actually he was not a pro wrestler 5 years ago. He walked into my physical therapy facility as a patient. And we formed a rapport. We spoke of wrestling a lot. We talked about wrestling a lot. He expressed an interest in becoming a pro wrestler. I referred him to a local wrestling school. I helped kind of bring him along there. And then when he was ready, a lot of his first matches were against me, being the heel, guiding him through matches. Fast forward 5 years later or more, here we are doing our thing.
Yeah.
Cool story.
I'm going to do Jay one last favor. He just wants to know about Mike Sharp and the significance he had on your career.
Well, he ran a wrestling school that I found, and it was far from home, but close enough for me to make it. Had he not opened up his school, who knows what I would have been doing. Found Mike Sharp school. He was a great teacher, sweet guy, really intense guy. And, without Mike Sharp, there'd be no Crowbar.
I love it, man. I want to see this match happen. How are you? You're still good friends. I mean, this was a ECW arena, I'm assuming? You guys are hanging out?
No, that's actually at East Coast Pro Wrestling School.
East Coast Pro, okay.
Doing motion capture for the video game.
That's awesome. Yeah, we didn't even get to tell me. I saw that trailer earlier. What's going on with that video game? Is that coming out? What is that?
I'm not sure of the exact release date, but I've seen my character. I've seen my moves. I've seen what you did there, but I'm not exactly sure the exact release date. It's called The Wrestling Code.
The Wrestling
by Virtual Basement.
Is that the first video game you're in?
No, I am in what is probably regarded as the worst wrestling game of all time.
WCW Thunder or what?
WCW Backstage Assault. The only wrestling game.
Assault,
wrestling game that doesn't have a ring.
Yo, I'm gonna play that and stream it later. I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna stream it later. We're gonna do a match, Crowbar versus somebody.
They had all these games. They had Thunder. They had the games that came before. So they had a graphic for a ring there somewhere. They had the motor or whatever it is for a ring. So you have all these backstage spots you could fight in. How do you not just add the ring in just to have there?
Yeah. That's funny.
But it is funny. Awful game, but it's cool and I'm able to show my kids I'm on it.
Hey, shit, man.
Yeah.
Action figures? I was looking for some action figures.
Have not had a formal action figure. Lots of customs, but there is no Crowbar action figure yet.
All right, I'm going to have, what's his name? Nick Kinnick, all right? You know Nick Kinnick, the guy that always rolls with Matt Cardona. He makes all those Major Bendy figures.
Gotcha.
We're going to start a GoFundMe to start the Crowbar figure. Like, you need a figure. It needs to happen. Like, this year. So I'd like to see. I think you have enough fans in New York City, in Philadelphia, New Jersey, all up and down the East Coast. There's got to be enough people that love the Timeless One that would want that figure. Maybe make it like a limited edition set or something. You know,
sure.
It comes with a nice autograph. We'll set it up. I know the guy. You need a figure. I love this picture. I love the fact that you're in Jim Crockett Promotions. So many legendary moments where you're standing right there have happened. Yeah. What was your time with Jim Crockett Promotions like? Any fond memories? I see you rocking the Star Wars shirt there.
Of course.
So you're just in your happy place in this picture.
Yeah, that was for Flair's last match, and they had the whole Jim Crockett promotion set up, and it was just surreal to be there with that backdrop. You know, growing up watching that program and to just be there, just an amazing, surreal, really cool, unexpected moment too at this stage in my career.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Do you have any thoughts on Mr. Dave Meltzer and his star ratings?
People ask me about Dave Meltzer and about people online that, you know, they give their ratings, whether they like something, they don't like something, they chime in, who thinks they're expert, who thinks they're not an expert. As long as there's interaction and people are talking about and excited about and enthusiastic about wrestling, I think it's fucking awesome. Seriously.
I agree.
If there's conversation being had, if they're talking about wrestling instead of Marvel, that's a win for pro wrestling. If they're talking about wrestling instead of the next DC movie, win for wrestling. So any kind of, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Dave's been around a long time. He's been bringing people the news. Other people have their own star ratings, and one person's star rating isn't the same as another. I've seen matches of mine that people said, "Oh, it was great, 5 stars," and right down the line, you see somebody, I think it sucked. It was too slow or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So it's good to have the opinions, the interactions. As long as people are talking about wrestling, why the hell not?
It's no different than the movie critic, you know?
Absolutely.
Tell me about Matt Hardy, man. I'm sure that was fun. Was that your first time wrestling?
That was our first match. I was friggin' thrilled when they called me to do that match. I'm a huge Matt Hardy fan. A guy that always evolves as well, and he's just such a cool dude. And people were amazed that we had never had a match, and that was a match that I probably thought that I would never have. And then when it was presented to me, I was so excited about it. Matt's a great guy. We both worked hard. We worked safe. The crowd there seemed to like what we did. And just another one of those bucket list matches that I never thought I would get, and that I'm so lucky and blessed to have been able to do this. You know, whatever this ride is, you know, post-COVID, delving back into pro wrestling, not really sure what it is. Just a lot of unexpected, really cool opportunities, and getting to wrestle Matt Hardy on Steamboat's last show, just incredible, awesome experience. So grateful. It's really been cool, dude.
Dude, you look fucking jacked right here, man. Look at this shit. You know, I know you're not 50 yet, right? You're 49. You're gonna be 50.
Just turned 49.
And happy birthday, happy belated birthday. But you do not, my man, you do not look anywhere near 49. You're going to be 50 years old, looking like you're still 39, coming in on 40, maybe 37.
And still
if you probably shave, you probably look 30.
At the level that I do.
At the level that you do. That is correct. Not many doing it at the level that you do. I would like to see you and Matt go at it again.
I'd love to see you and Matt go at it again.
You got anything to say about Jeff Hardy and his situation, and like the fact that a lot of people had a lot to say about that? They were very upset that, you know, Jeff Hardy got released yet again, so many times getting arrested with DUIs. So what's your take on that shit? Like, you know, people getting second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth chances.
Anytime you have something like that, it's unfortunate. You know, you inherently put other people at risk. I like to go out and have a few beers too, and I have my Uber. I always use my Uber. I just really hope that Jeff's learned from his mistakes and that he can get his stuff together, and you know, that neither him or anybody else gets hurt from you know, drugs or alcohol, whatever it was. And you know, I hope he turns out he's an outstanding performer. He's somebody I love to wrestle again too. I actually did have a match with Jeff way back when in one of the Super 8s, believe it or not.
Wow.
And there's probably no bigger Jeff Hardy fan than me. I love watching Jeff's stuff. So, you know, I hope he can turn it around and be positive and get in a great place, and hopefully we can mix it up.
Yeah, it's upsetting to see as a Hardy fan all this bullshit going down because, if it's me, I'll give him 10 more chances. But the problem is all the other people that, get upset when they see, why does he get off and my cousin's got to go to jail or, and I understand that conversation. So I really do hope Jeff Hardy can turn it around. And I know he's got a good support system, but he's got to be smart about the decisions he makes. And that's everybody. In life, you get only a few opportunities to make that decision. And, it's going to go one or two ways. Try to make it always go the good way. But hell of a career, hell of a run. What was it like fighting Vargas? I mean, he's up and coming. He's the current Creative Pro champion.
He's one of my favorites. Just prior to COVID, I ran a few charity shows for the veterans and for the fire department around my town. I brought Vargas in just because I just love the way he looks. And I chose him to wrestle me way back when. It had to be 2019, maybe spring of 2019. Was a big fan of him then. Was a big fan of him now, and just recently when I got to work with him. So I would love to work him again. I think he has a very bright future. I think he's a great big man.
He is a great big man. Can you believe the disrespect by Toto Atam where that Dave LaGreca signed, though? ISPW 2022 Manager of the Year. I should kick him off the show, but you know what? It doesn't matter. I wouldn't do that, Jay. I'm not going to kick him off the show for that. It's not a big deal. He can think Dave's the 2022 manager. He's not going to be this year's Manager of the Year. It's not going to happen if I have anything to say about it. But let's get back to you, Crowbar, because that's why we're here. Tell me about this match, because I know you were mentioning, we had a conversation earlier, and IG was ICW. This match looks like it's ready to be a death match, basically. What's going on here?
A ring and chains. I was never a huge fan of deathmatch wrestling. And here I am in a ring with no ropes. There's chains and there's weapons and there's platforms. I had got a call from Danny DeManto. I love Danny. I know him a long, long time. He's one of my favorite opponents too. I've been known to really tear it up against each other. And he called me up. He goes, "Hey, want to come down working the chains?" And I'm like, "Chains? What do you mean? A chain match?" I wasn't aware of what was going on that night. He goes, "No, I'll send you a video." And he sends me a video of a wrestling ring without ropes, and in place of the ropes there was chains and lots of light bulbs and weapons and this and that and the other thing. I said, let me think about it. This usually is not my thing. Usually not my thing. I do like to use a chair or a guardrail or a table in the midst of a proper wrestling match. But I said, let me get back to you. And I said to myself, Self, can you do a good match there? And I thought if we made the chains like they're meant to be, something you would not want to touch because they would hurt. And if we made it a wrestling match / fight within the confines of this new environment, that I could do something that was good. I had one stipulation. I said, Danny, I'm close to 50 years old. I got a wife and kids and yada, yada. I'm not going there and rolling around in people's blood. I said, get me out first or second. Whenever the blood starts, I go, and I will come there and I will work my ass off. And I think we could do something really, really cool. And I asked, who am I working? He said, Manders. I love Manders. I love the gimmick. What wrestling federation should not have a cowboy? I mean, I love a cowboy gimmick. And he's a great worker. We had a whole lot of fun. And that was my first match in the chains. Someplace that I totally did not expect to be.
I might have to actually watch that match, man. It looks wild. I definitely would not hit the ropes with chains. It's not happening, and I'm not getting through. I'm either going to walk out or, I'm not doing that.
I think it was a cool showing, and
you get a lot of credit on my book for that.
I think what we did was very different for that audience. It was hard hitting. I think they appreciated it a whole lot. The reaction we got was fantastic. So,
do you think Vince McMahon would approve of that match?
Who knows? In this day and age, maybe.
What do you think about Vince McMahon and who he's going to sell the company to? And my honest question to you is, Vince is still running the show, obviously, right? But by text message, maybe, or what
I would assume so.
Nothing on Vince. I think he's still running the show most of the part, to be honest.
Yeah. Who knows?
Tom, how about you, man? You think Vince is running the show?
No. No, he has input, but according to Triple H, he has the final say.
Yeah. Right now, he has the final say. I just think Vince, if he wants to, he sends one text and he makes something happen. Real easy, real simple. It's not complicated. Otherwise, how else do you explain Brock Lesnar versus Omos? I mean, how do you explain that?
I have no problem with Omos, but this is not about Omos tonight, so.
No, that's true. WrestleMania is coming up. Jim Ross has worked WrestleMania, and I know Jim Ross and you have a little bit of a history right there. He was the one that was trying to pretty much get you to be on the road to be that physical therapist, right?
Yes, he was the guy that I was speaking with, and it was always great to see him. It just never materialized, never came to pass, never given an explanation. But
did you get a chance to pick his brain at all for like his wrestling knowledge?
When I was there as a wrestler, I was an undercard / extra guy, so I wasn't even going to be able to grab Jim Ross's ear at that stage.
Here's the pictures of you there, man.
There,
Devon Storm, man, look at you, man. You're on top rope, top of the world, right there, doing your thing. You were in a tournament for the lightweight heavyweight championship, right there. That's crazy, man.
Pretty cool.
Nah, that is all cool shit. Hell of a career here, right here, man. I mean, look at the comparison then and now, and still doing it at a high level. Cutting the crazy vignettes. I love this quote from your Twitter page, so I had to take it. And I agree with that, man. It's all mindset. So if you have a weak mindset and you don't allow yourself to think things are possible, then that's exactly what they're going to be. Impossible.
Absolutely.
That's a nice picture with you and your wife. Again, beautiful family. I love how you actually take family as your priority. And this is like pretty much how you work out, right? You do your cardio and you watch classic matches.
Right in the Star Wars room, I pull the bike out and I just pedal and watch and take notes, or just watch, and enjoy.
Reflect on memories of past matches. Take you back to those golden era days, 80s, 90s, early WWF, where everything was just money, right? I mean, everything just was money. You're here taking pictures. You're always taking pictures with other wrestlers, other fans. I love the way that you interact with the fans. You treat your fans real well. You have an artistic side over here. You do a lot of, pretty much, you cut up your own media from what I've gathered in this interview. So you do your own Twitter page and you make your own videos, vignettes. What kind of schedule does that entail? Do you try to get everything done in one day, or do you work it out in different sessions?
Sometimes you get an idea, and if it's real simple, you do it. If not, I'll try to jot down the basic idea. And I've done videos as I'm riding a bike, as I'm doing cardio. I've done videos on the toilet.
Nice.
Whenever there's time, there's always something going on with work, with family, with the kids, sports events, this activity, that activity. You just find time to do it. It's always not easy. You just do your best.
Is this in the office? This is in the
office. That was made a long time ago when Joey Janela blew out his knee. And he was coming to me for therapy.
Nice.
And he was doing the end of the day, and he either forgot or something. He no-showed, and I'm sitting there with my thumb up my ass like Virgil.
Damn. Well, I got a picture of you and one of my favorite fans there, Dusty. Dusty
He's awesome.
Incarnation over here. He does a great job, great impersonation. But like I said, you always take the time out for the fans, man.
I have a great time myself just getting pictures with some of the cosplayers. That's one thing I love to do, and I'll get off my table if I think somebody's in really cool gear, and I'll go. I'll get myself a picture to have. And this guy's such a nice guy. He's all over, such a enthusiastic fan. He's a real blessing for the business. We need fans like that. He's great.
No, he's great. I actually had an interaction with him recently.
Super nice guy.
At the big event. I was online to meet Cody Rhodes, and I was about to meet him in like 10 minutes. So I decided to go outside and go to the back of the line and start a video and let everybody know that I'm about to go meet Cody Rhodes, and they got to wait in the line in the cold, and it sucks for them. And we were talking about WrestleMania, and then that guy took over my show for about 3 minutes. I gave him the mic. He's interviewing the fans, freezing his bojangles off, he said, or bojangles. Anyway, he's great. He's great.
Great
good
guy.
fan. And, you know, you saw that segment they did where Cody put him in the ring, man?
It was fantastic. It was great.
I mean, that's something that's
Good
going
for
to, you
him.
know,
That's
going to stay with him the
stuff.
rest of his life, man. That's like,
Absolutely.
Tell me about New Japan Pro Wrestling.
So for the longest time, when I was starting out, you know, as I spoke before about Jericho, I would get the Japan tapes, you know, and it wasn't like now where you get video like immediately. You had to send out to the tape guys that were making copies, and you had to wait weeks and weeks sometimes for the tape to come back. So I loved my New Japan Wrestling, and it was a place, you know, starting out here at that time, you know, we're talking 91, 92, wrestling was loaded with big dudes, giant dudes. New Japan was hope for smaller guys like me. And I enjoyed the style. I enjoyed the audience. I enjoyed the way it was presented. It was presented in a more real fashion, for lack of a better word. You know, fast forward all these years, the one company that that was missing from my resume was actually one of my favorite companies. And I got contacted by Rocky Romero in September. He said, "We're going to New York, you know, the end of October. Would you like to do it?" I was blown away. I was finally going to get my New Japan match, and I got there. I got to work with Fred Rosser, who I had known from the Independence a long, long time. Sweet, great guy. Know him, just a great dude, and very strong and passionate about wrestling like I am. And we went out there and we tore it up. It was a great time.
That's awesome, man. New Japan, you didn't wrestle in Japan though, right? Is that still on the bucket list? You want to get over to Japan?
Believe it or not, a lot of people assume because of my style at that time that I was going back and forth to Japan. I have never been to Japan to wrestle.
But do you want to go to Japan and wrestle?
It's something I would consider, absolutely. That'd be a hell of an experience, you know, depending, you know.
If you had your perfect scenario right now, forget ISPW and forget Outlaw, and if you could be comfortable somewhere and they said, we'll take care of you, but you have to choose between New Japan, AEW, NXT, or WWE, or let's say even Impact, where would you see yourself being the most comfortable and happy? Because at the end of the day, at this point in your age, with your wife, your kids, you definitely want to make that decision and be happy with it. You don't want to go to Japan and then miss your family, maybe. Or, you know, it's a lot.
Yeah, whoever would accommodate my work schedule the best, my business, my family. You know, I do have a schedule where if need be, I could get away. I've hired 3 other physical therapists outside of myself. That being said, it is my business. People come there to see me first for their initial evaluation, so I have to be there at least a decent amount of time. But it would be possible for me to hold down a TV schedule if it were to present itself. So whoever would be most willing to accommodate my life, and the trade-off is they would get one timeless guy that will come in there and work his ass off and go out of my way to try to steal the show each and every time and wrestle safely, of course. Always wrestling safely.
Yeah, no, you're a big safety guy. We were talking about that earlier, and you know that's why you've had the career you've had. Rest in peace to Mr. Poffo over there. Did you know him well?
That's Mark Merrill.
Oh wow, I thought that was Lenny Poffo.
No,
that's Mark Merrill.
I did not know Lenny Poffo well.
Okay.
I do know Mark.
I don't know why I thought that
was
like. It looks like him. It could be the shades, man.
Yeah, and Mark Merrill, awesome guy.
Mark Merrill is awesome, man. He lost out on Sable though. Brock took that. That's poor Mark. I'm sorry, Mark. I called you Lenny. Man, I'm banging out Mark Merrill over you. Look at you though with Ric Flair. I do know who that is.
What can you say about that? I mean, that's...
When was the first time you met Ric Flair? Do you have any Ric Flair stories? Because if you don't, I fucking do. I have met this man. I have seen him a few times.
I tell you, I met Ric Flair when I first went to WCW. And at that time, it just was not fashionable to take pictures with your peers, especially if they were higher up on the food chain than you. You didn't want to bother them. It was frowned upon.
Yep.
It wasn't etiquette. And as a result, I've missed out on so many pictures that I wish I got. Now, if I go to a show, I don't even care. I go up with my camera. I go, please, can I get a picture? I get a picture with everybody now.
That's the way it should be, man. I mean, but back then it was a lot of,
it was different.
People protecting the business, keeping kayfabe, all that stuff, and you don't want to bother
but even
people.
in the locker rooms or out, it just wasn't done. It wasn't a fashionable thing to do.
What was your thought on that first moment in Madison Square Garden where the clique was all hugging and stuff? Did that bother you that they did that? Because I know everybody had a different opinion on that. Me personally, I didn't care because we know they're hanging out. We know they're friends. At least I did at that point in my wrestling fandom.
Yeah.
Like, how are they not hanging out? They're human beings.
At the time, as a fan, I didn't know whether it was like one of these work shoots or, that was a big thing where there was something going on. That was at a time when the sheets were hot and this inside, they were catering more to the smart crowd little by little. So I was suspicious as if there was some kind of angle there or something.
Right.
That's true. Look at this shit. That's is that Ric Flair's last match? Which one was this?
That was the Friday before Ric Flair's last match. That was for Black Label Pro against Jake something.
Still taking those bumps. Look at those high intensity bumps through the steel chairs. I mean, that does not feel nice. That's going to leave a mark. I wanted to show off your Star Wars love. You do look like a Sith Lord. Have you ever tried to get into a Star Wars movie or franchise? Maybe we need to get you on the West Coast and you start auditioning for some of these shows. You'll look like a Sith Lord.
I think I make a good, like, random background shady person.
Yeah. Like Thug 3.
Convict. Henchman number 2.
Yeah.
Henchman number 2.
I mean, your love for Star Wars is real. We know a lot of wrestlers. We just had Greek God Papadon on here. He's a big Star Wars fanatic as well. I saw him do a
Star Wars
review.
often with Greek God Papadon.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. But look at your love for Star Wars over here. I saw some pictures. You went to the park.
That's me and Roadkill. That is ECW's Roadkill on the other speeder bike.
Nice, man. And I believe you went with your wife to the theme park, the new one?
Yes, of course.
You saw the Millennium Falcon?
Absolutely.
How was that experience?
Like a little kid in a candy store, man. It was great.
Oh, God. How bad was the lines? It must have been brutal.
We usually go later on at night, so it wasn't that bad.
Nice.
We do the pool during the day. We do the parks at night.
Crowbar, tough and intelligent, man.
Yes.
Making intelligent moves. I like the choices for your man cave. It's not overkill. It's just right. I see you got that gold on that Stormtrooper right
Absolutely.
there. Beautiful shot of the room right here. Definitely. What's your favorite Star Wars film of all time?
I used to say The Empire Strikes Back. Now, when I really reflect upon it, Return of the Jedi, and I'll defend it because, wow, you're crazy. You got to put yourself back at that time. The movies came out years apart, and also the films aren't now what they were back then. In Star Wars: A New Hope, you never saw Jabba the Hutt. That scene with him in the hangar was not there. So you heard about him there. You heard about him in Empire Strikes Back. So come Return of the Jedi, after all these years, you go and there's just so many payoffs there. You see Jabba the Hutt for the first time. You see the Emperor for the first time. You see the Emperor's guards. Darth Vader takes his mask off. You find out Luke and Leia are brother and sisters. There's just a lot of good payoffs in that movie. And as a kid, the emotion behind it was fantastic.
The only movies I own on Blu-ray.
Boom.
And that's not true. I have one more, and it's the original Batman, 1989, which, by the way, is the best Batman of all time, Michael Keaton. Do you agree with that statement, or do you have a different Batman? Do you like Batman?
I like Batman, and I do. One of my favorites is Michael Keaton. And I think part of it, too, is just how it came out when I was younger, and it was such a big deal. It was such a great deal, it really was just a super big deal of a movie. And like Return of the Jedi, it just burns itself. And your memory and it means something. You know, not just the movie itself, but the time of your life when you saw it.
No, they were great movies. They were all well done. I've seen all of them, maybe a few. I don't want to sound like a complete nerd and say 100 times each, but it might be something like that. I've seen them all many times. But you know, you're a huge Star Wars fan. If you're rocking, fucking look at this, the Star Wars underwear, man. I'm loving it.
Those tights, it got to be just the right light and right angle. And there are my Star. Every time I wrestle, I have one of two pairs of Star Wars underwear on.
That's awesome. That's pretty awesome, man. But what a hell of a look you have. I mean, to me, you look like you fit in any locker room going today. And I want to see you have a match with this guy. I know you mentioned earlier you love Charlotte Flair and that you love Hangman Adam Page. And I'm actually super happy to hear you say that because I love Hangman Adam Page. I wasn't a big fan of CM Punk coming back and taking the title off him so quickly. I don't think it was necessary right away. I think Hangman is somebody that if they would have put a little more stock into, they could have built him up a little stronger than they did because he's so talented in the ring. Delivering matches that tell a story. It's like you could see the ring psychology when he's in the ring. He doesn't have some of these matches with everybody else that it's these crazy spot fest, flip here, flip there, pause, submission, and then back to the spot. He tells a story. He goes around the ring, physical shots, intensity. He has a nice setup, false finishes. He makes you think he's about to lose half the time. Like he's good. He's good. He's really good. What are your thoughts on Hangman and Charlotte Flair?
We were talking about this before. We were talking about just ring safety. If you look at my whole outside the ring move set, a lot of stuff that looks nuts. You know, you got the clothesline in the chair, you got the over the top into the chair, all this guardrail stuff, my Vader bomb. It's all bumps that I'm going out there forward and I control the fall. I control myself and taking care of my opponent. And the reason why is too many times in my career I've gotten dropped. And when you get dropped, it's not nice, or you run a risk of getting hurt or banged up. And so I've come up with an outside moveset where I depend on me and I take care of me and the other guy. But going back to safety, like we were saying, both of them, Charlotte, Hangman, incredible athletes, incredibly passionate fan base. They are beloved by their fans. They both do that top rope moonsault to the floor. Looks incredible. They're both great athletes. They could pull it off. But in my mind, they're both over. So much is invested in them. That's just one move that I think that carries a bad risk reward curve to it. There's a lot of room for error, a lot of ways to get hurt there, a lot that could go wrong. And they are incredibly athletic. They could pick something else. They are totally beloved with their fan base. So what I usually say is there's not one fan that's going to say, Charlotte hasn't done that top rope moonsault to the floor in a while, or Hangman hasn't done that top rope moonsault to the floor in a while. Screw them. I'm not watching them no more. There's not one fan that's going to say that. I just think they're great performers. A lot is invested in them, and that's something they could do to just better protect themselves. There's other great stuff to the floor that they could do that would probably be just as exciting, but safer. You know, often I'll work with a new guy. I'm, as I said, big safety guy. Love to do stuff that looks crazy, that looks athletic, that looks dangerous, but is, when you really dissect it, super safe. And I'll occasionally say no to a move. But if you ask these wrestlers, I say no, but I'm happy to offer you 5 other moves of equal or greater value that'll make you look just as good, and we'll both be a whole lot more safe doing those moves. And I get a thrill. I get a kick out of having a great match where we went all out, worked really hard, and coming back to the back, and we're both unscathed completely. There's no bigger win than that. If you could tear it up with a lot of stuff that looks crazy, that looks extreme, that looks dangerous. And you can excite the crowd, elicit that reaction you want. But then you get to the back, you're tired from the match, but you go, you good? Yeah, you good? Would they hit you with anything hard? No. No. Huge win. No better feeling than that.
Yeah, because that's the job, man.
Than putting on what's called, I guess they call it a banger and being totally unscathed. Nothing like it.
That's the job. Tom over here wants to talk to you a little bit about this right here. And Tom, I'll let you take the floor.
Well, this came out a couple weeks ago, and we're finally getting some details on how this is supposed to work. Apparently, the WWE wants to get more interest in their product, more eyeballs on it. And as a way of doing that, they're going to try and sign up with some betting sites like DraftKings, where they will be able to have people bet on the big main event matches. Now, in order for this to happen, they have to have an organization called Ernst & Young, which actually does the Academy Awards as far as keeping results a secret. They're going to be involved with this so that the finishes don't get leaked. So here's what's going to happen, Crowbar. I'm not sure if you know the full details on it, but
I have no idea. Go ahead.
So the only person who's going to know what's going to be happening with the results of this match, in a sense, would be Triple H. That means like Roman, Paul Heyman, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, they don't know what's happening until the books close, maybe like a couple of hours before the actual match starts.
Wow.
So if you don't have a current storyline going, probably not a big deal. But when you're dealing with something like the Bloodline, which has been going on for 9 months, that means that none of them are going to know what's happening. They're not going to know the finishes to their matches until they basically go out to the ring.
Nah, I think they can make them sign like kind of contract things that if they say anything, they're like fucked kind of thing. Like, and the big stars, I don't think they would go and say anything. Like the Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns, the big time players.
Well, that's what this organization, Ernst & Young, is going to do. They're pros at it, and that's what the WWE has to, get involved with. Now, the issues that they're saying is that if you take a match with like a Bad Bunny or a Logan Paul, somebody who is not typically, in the know as far as wrestling, it makes it a lot harder for them to do their matches because sometimes they work their matches out before. And now they can't do that because they literally can't give the results out until a couple hours before the actual match starts. So, your thoughts on that, Crowbar?
I don't know what to say. I don't know how you bet on pro wrestling. I'm very interested to see how they're going to do it and how it works. I have no idea how you would even do a bet on a pro wrestling match.
I've already seen them have all kinds of betting stuff on some sites for like the Royal Rumble. They have Royal Rumble specials, but like you have to pick like 10 crazy fucking
absolutely
things.
I have no idea, but I'm real interested to see what they're going to do. It'll definitely be interesting for sure.
I'm not worried about it, man. Yeah. Tom, your average match at WrestleMania is let's say 20 minutes, right? Like a good quality match going to be 20, 25 minutes. The finish is only consisted of the last minute. Okay, let's be honest. So these guys can still go and work out a whole program and then have multiple finishes set up based on what they tell them in the earphone. All right, he's going over. End of story.
But here's something that they won't be able to do from now on, okay? So you book the main event for WrestleMania, Cody versus Roman, okay? That's set. The bets are now coming in. Now you do your elimination chamber. Sami Zayn all of a sudden gets very hot. And there was talks of him actually maybe winning the title in Toronto. Guess what? If you thought you were going to do that, you can't do it anymore. That cannot happen because Cody versus Roman is already the main event. So it's going to tie your hands a bit back. You're not going to be able to change storylines on the fly. I think it's going to hurt the business. That's my personal belief. It's going to hurt the business.
I think they're going to make more money than fucking ever because they're going to know the results and they're going to know the bets and all the idiots. At the end of the day, Tom, all you need to know is this. The house always wins. Now, I know someone like you who doesn't understand how much a suit like this costs understands that, Tom. See, now he's going to make me go into full savage mode, man.
I wear these crappy T-shirts.
Well, that's not a crappy T-shirt. I actually support that T-shirt. It's for a basketball team, and you know,
They lost tonight. They just lost.
Well, that's because they stink, Tom. All right, hot question: Chris Benoit, Crowbar.
Yes.
Do we put him in the Hall of Fame if it's on you?
As a performer, he's one of my favorites. I got to wrestle Chris Benoit. Incredible performer. That was a huge moment for me. Surreal. What he did was awful. Beyond awful. You can't describe it. I don't know. That's something, you know, people do interviews and they just shout out this or that on certain things. And yet, I honestly don't know. I'd have to think about it more.
That's a fair answer, man. It's a tough decision.
Want me to give you
WrestleMania is coming out. Sure. No, go for it.
A real answer of it, I can't say yes, no. I have to. That's something I'd have to ponder on.
I mean, I listen. People don't like it, but I'll say it. I don't. You know, I can't judge the man for the Hall of Fame based on anything else other than his wrestling, and based on the wrestling that I saw in the ring. And I grew up watching his wrestling all the way from WCW to WWF. There's not many people in this business who went out there and had the intensity that he had, second for second, footstep for footstep, chop, headbutt, suplex machine, submission expert, and didn't need to talk to get to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
He did all of it by his wrestling. So I don't care when people say he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. That's their opinion. They're entitled to it. My opinion is his wrestling belongs in the Hall of Fame, and that's it.
He may be the only wrestler ever to win the championship who couldn't talk on the mic. If you think about it.
Yeah, that's a hard
heavyweight title. If you think about it.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I wanted to talk about WrestleMania yet again coming up very soon. Do you have plans for WrestleMania? Or are you going to be watching it with a fan? Is your family big fans of wrestling outside of what you do?
My wife is. My kids will watch it a little bit, you know, here or there. You know, WrestleMania is often too when if there's nothing else going on, it's an excuse to get together with the guys. You know, Danny Doring, Roadkill, you know, Bull James will get together and we'll watch a show. In the past, you know, from year to year, we don't know until probably halfway through the week of
everybody's
doing, because we got kids, the Dorings got kids, you know what I mean? So there's always a lot of X factors and potential cogs going on and a lot of moving parts there. So
we should schedule one, maybe
I
one
hope
pay-per-view.
to watch WrestleMania this year.
One pay-per-view this year. We should figure out a way that we set up some kind of watch party somewhere, and we get a couple of the stars from ISPW, a couple of the stars from Outlaw, you know, the indie scene, and we have a nice party at a nice like restaurant or bar or pub or something like that. I think it could be a good time to watch like a big pay-per-view, you know, with actual wrestlers there, critiquing it, talking about it, taking it in, and more than anything, just being a fan.
Tommy does it. Tommy already does that at the Wrestling Collector.
Yes, I know, but I want to do it, Tom. Wrestling with Savage wants to do it in a big fancy fashion.
You could rent out the Wrestling Collector.
Rent out the Wrestling Collector.
Sure, we'll give you a good rate.
Wrestling Collector is like very far away, and they don't have the food that Manhattan has. I know.
How about the Wrestling Universe then?
And I know, Crowbar, I don't want to offend you because I know you're a Jersey guy too, man. But listen, man, when you're from New York, there's no comparison. You can't. Jersey's nice, all right? It's quiet, it's peaceful, it's got its neighborhoods. It's got its bad neighborhoods too, like every other city. No, come on, man. You cannot compare New York. Can't compare New York. You guys, there's great food everywhere if you know where to go, though. That's a fact. There is great food. I do love the state of New Jersey. I might even be inclined to buy some property there eventually just because it's so goddamn affordable compared to where the fuck I live. This neighborhood is ridiculous. Do you like New York a lot? Do you come to New York?
Not often. I'm not a big city guy.
Okay. Well, yeah, you grew
I
up
hate driving in the city. I hate parking in the city.
I don't blame you there. I don't blame you. That's why you got to have someone drive you. You see, that's why one day I'll come pick you up. I'll do all the driving. You can just sit back and relax.
Deal.
That's it. Total War Tom. Maybe we'll bring him along for the ride. I don't know if he deserves it with that Dave LaGreca sign. He's pushing his limits over here. Tom, I would have no problem going to jail for a night to chop the shit out of you. Just know that. If you want to call the cops and press charges, that's fine. But the chop could be coming, Total War Tom. I'll leave it up to Crowbar. Crowbar, you think I should chop him?
Well, yeah, sure, why not?
Tom's done, man. But yeah, WrestleMania is coming up. Big Dog, you have any words on the Big Dog? Roman Reigns, Tribal Chief, doing his thing?
I think he's doing great. That's such a long time coming, of just trying to get him into that spot, and the initial resistance from wrestling fans. Some got behind it, some didn't, and they stuck with it. They kept trying, and they kept trying different things and tweaking this and that, and finally they got it, and they got something super, super special.
Yes.
And I think the smart fans that also know what I just spoke about, the road to get where they are, that struggle, it had to be like a company struggle of trying ways to get him over the way he is now. I think that even though he's a heel to the smart fans, that makes this whole situation even more endearing, and I think it makes the fans respect him even more because it was such a long road to get there.
Nah, he's doing his thing. I'm excited about the Tribal Chief and everything he's doing. The match with him and Cody Rhodes. It's beautiful storytelling, years in the making from both sides. Even his side, Samoan Bloodline Dynasty. I know you have experience with some other Samoans taking on Alpha Jr. over there.
Absolutely.
Which, by the way, I think Alpha Jr. could beat the shit out of Roman Reigns in a real fucking shoot. But that's just me.
Alpha's tough.
Alpha's a big boy. He's a big boy. My God. That spot with the barricade, man. Like, you've been killing it lately with that barricade.
Yep.
How does that feel, taking a bump on that thing?
Not many use it.
Very unique. You have a unique style with a lot of your moves, to be honest.
Yeah.
And
I try to stand out. I try to do different things, and not a lot of people use the barricade. I think it looks more impressive than a table. A table breaks, which is great. There's a big sound. There's a big crack and thud. When you hit a guardrail, there's no breaking there. There's no, if anything, you'll see a bend. So it's, the fan is seeing you hit something that's friggin' solid. And I found a safe way to do it. And it's now one of these staples of my repertoire.
Willie P would like to know, in your opinion, who's the most famous wrestler you've ever been in the ring with?
John Cena, Ric Flair, Booker T, definitely one of them as well.
Huge names. What's your opinion on the dirt sheets and people trying to always either spread rumors, spread lies, make money off lies, and just in general, just the constant amount of fucking shit people spew on a daily basis?
Like I said before, as long as people are discussing wrestling in some fashion, before they're discussing Marvel, before they're talking about video games, before they're discussing, as long as it's a topic, it's a win for pro wrestling. All you have to do again is filter out the negative. Don't take things too personally. And I believe the more people are talking about what they like in wrestling, what they don't like, the fact that they're passionate about stuff and will argue with others about it, that's how passionate they are. I think it's a huge win for wrestling as a business.
Well, bad publicity, good publicity, it doesn't really matter, right? This business is about getting over, man.
People are engaged and really excited and enthusiastic about wrestling. If they're so excited about it that they'll argue online for 4 hours, that shows how much they care about the product.
No, they definitely care about the product and still be watching it decades later, and then, raising their kids to become fans of it, or at least trying to, right? Any of your kids, maybe you think might turn around and be a wrestler one day?
A funny story, years ago, my son was born in 2007. And at that time, everybody's, he grew up to be a wrestler like that? Absolutely not. I came up in wrestling back in the early 90s. I had my time in ECW, WCW. And that was a time when you saw a lot of guys, doing drugs and stuff. And drugs were a part of the wrestling culture.
The
it was
culture,
the culture that I never delved into, which is, I believe one of the reasons why I didn't fit in too great with a lot of groups is that just wasn't my thing. But as a result of that, the guys used to do a lot of stuff and do over the top crazy stuff. So in 2007, when somebody asked me, is your son going to grow up to be a wrestler? The answer was absolutely not. I don't want him nowhere near wrestling. Fast forward now, we're in 2023, and the past 3 years I've been getting out there independence.
I get it.
More and more. And as I'm out there more, we've seen how the wrestling culture has changed. There are some guys that do some wild stuff, but it's, in my opinion, way, way, way more tame than what I saw coming in. Guys aren't treated the way we were coming in. We used to get beat up, and not that that's right. And I think the whole culture is a lot less toxic and a lot more just safe. Whereas a father, I would consider letting my kid come into wrestling in the business.
There's better training facilities now
changed.
than there ever has been. That's for sure.
Yes.
At this point in day of age, you have NXT, you have Alpha Juniors Performance Center. Which have you been to Alpha Juniors Performance Center?
I have not. And
it's got multiple rings, physical therapy, a whole gym, barbershop, sauna, food, everything, bro. Crazy. It almost rivals the NXT Performance Center. But when you have places like that, I agree with you. It's safer now. 100%. I'm putting on more footage of you over here so people can see. Match preparation is something you talk about a lot. Is that like the advice you give to a lot of these young guys? Like, just prepare. Because the more you prepare, the better the match?
I like going out there and trying to kill it. So I'll always tell a promoter, put me with a young lion, let me go out there and tear it up. Just let me know who the person is. And the second I find out who my opponent is, I go on YouTube or I go on IWTV or wherever else I can find a video of this person, and I will study them. I will study their moveset. I will study what they like to do so that I can in turn do a great match with them. I'm not one of these veteran guys that I came up with where I say, this is what we're doing, kid, X, Y, but no, I become familiar with the wrestler's moveset. I ask him what he wants to do. I know what I want to do, and then we try to put it together and make something exciting and memorable. So the prep for the match for me starts at least two weeks before. As I'm doing cardio, I'll put these matches up and just become familiar with that individual. And as I become familiar with them, I carry around a pad with me. I like writing. I could put the notes on my phone, but I retain ideas better when I write them down. And I'll just start jotting down ideas, that I come up with based on the video that I saw of that person, and I'll put in the time so that we could really have the best match that we possibly can.
What is going through your mind when you're looking up at the ceiling and you're about to come down and have a real bad day?
That right there.
Woo! What a bump.
It looked crazy. It looked wild. It looked dangerous. Without pulling out the, taking the magic away from it, what I will say is it looked just the way I wanted it to look. But rest assured, if I did it, it was done in a safe manner.
So what would you tell to all these young guys over there, man? Work safe.
I came out of there unscathed, no blood, no cuts, no nothing, and nobody knew how I did it.
So what would be your advice to all the young wrestlers, man, to maybe not do as many crazy high spots? It's not worth it sometimes. Or just find a way to make things. Yeah.
Just make better choices. I've said it many times. This generation of wrestlers is without question the most athletically gifted generations of wrestlers ever. They could do with their bodies so many different things. Just make better choices. And if you could get a reaction with this fantastic looking move that's safe, maybe do that one instead of doing the fantastic looking one that you might get hurt on.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. A lot of guys don't really care because they're young and they're hungry and they want to make a moment that people are going to either remember or talk about. That's, I guess, most people's excuses. But at the end of the day, you're always better off to be safe because you only have this one life.
And if you're creative and, if you're creative, you could do some great stuff. But if you have the athletic ability that these kids do now, there's a whole gigantic repertoire of things that they could do without having to pick the things that are more dangerous.
In your opinion, what's the single craziest move that you've seen in your years in pro wrestling, whether it be something you were involved in or a pay-per-view like Undertaker throwing Mick Foley off Hell in a Cell?
Well, that's one that was huge and just
mind-blowing.
Huge memory. Yes, mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing.
I was actually backstage at the Meadowlands Arena. It was when I was being brought in to do the light heavyweight stuff, and I saw directly from the curtain in the back, I saw Stone Cold get his neck broken.
Oof.
I saw it happen at that pile driver, and that really sticks out to this day. And it's also, I'm very careful with pile drivers. Owen Hart, one of the most soundest ring technicians ever, made that mistake.
Pile driver is one of those riskier moves. They kind of banned that from WWE. You don't really see a lot of pile drivers. Why is it that on the indie shows is it just because like guys trust each other? Because the pile driver, it can be a dangerous move if it's not done correctly.
And I'll take him still, but I'm saying that move was done by one of the most technically sound wrestlers ever, and he made a mistake.
Damn, man. Yeah, he took about like 10 years off Stone Cold's career. Easy.
Probably, yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, man, be careful when you're wrestling out there. We see you wrestling all the time. You're going crazy, though. I mean, you're still jumping off the apron, diving over springboard splashes. Timeless. How much time do you got left to do these? Do you see yourself doing this for 10 more years?
I have no idea. When it stops being fun and when it gets to where I'm not doing it at a level that I'm happy with myself doing it, I'm done. I don't want to coast out doing less and less and less. I have to be able to perform in the ring where I respect it, and it's something that I would like to see as a fan. I don't want to be out there as an embarrassment.
Now, you mentioned earlier in our conversation that, when you go to wrestle, you go there, to enjoy yourself, to get lost in the moment, to, let loose. So training, I'm assuming, is off the table, right? Because you don't want to train anybody. You want to wrestle.
Or coaching now. I've had many offers to help out at local wrestling schools. I've had people say that they would back a wrestling school if I open one up. I'm just a bad spectator. It's something that I love doing so much. I don't think I would be happy watching from the sidelines. If I'm at a show and someone asks my advice, I'm more than happy to offer advice and really try to help them in that moment. But I wouldn't want it to be my job requirement. I want to be able to go to the show, get lost in my character and have some fun and get a kick out of the fact that I could still do this wild stuff. But again, happy to casually offer advice in the locker room, but coaching just not my thing.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. I get it. Willie P actually has a good question. Would there be anything you would do differently, knowing everything you know, if you could go back to, let's say, the start of your career? Is there anything you would fine-tune or change?
I probably would have gotten into safety a lot sooner. Did some crazy stuff early on, put a lot of mileage on early on, not so much in later years, but early on, a lot of miles. So if I could change any one thing, I would get into this safety thing a whole lot sooner.
Yeah, that's my biggest advice to anybody that's getting into the game now at a young age, man. It's about safety. It's about cardio because you have to be able to go. That's another reason why I don't want to wrestle anymore, because I don't want to chase anybody around the ring. I'd rather have people beat everybody up for me. That's what that's what I want.
I hit that cardio about an hour, at least 6 nights a week. And that's why.
My cardio's in the bedroom, Crowbar. You understand what I'm telling you, man? I put in the work there. That's it. Wrestling 80s Con coming up May 6th. I'll be there. Crowbar will be there. Crowbar, I hope you'll come over to our table, hang out with Marty. Like I said, maybe put him in a headlock. We'll beat him up a little bit.
Absolutely.
Put him in line. You have the upcoming match March 24th. I'll be there. Tom's going to be there. I'll be booing Rick Recon, so you better believe that shit. And I wanted to tell you about Battlefield. We have shows coming up, multiple shows this year. We have the next one coming up March 26th, but this one's April 30th. Matt Cardona will be in the house. And next month, this month, next week, March 26th, Sabu is going to enter the Battlefield. So if you're not doing anything on that Sunday, you have VIP tickets, compliments of Savage. You can come on down and enjoy some professional wrestling. You have Joey Martinez taking on Alpha Jr., Vinnie Mac taking on Sean Maluda. You have Danny DeMonto taking on Phil Insane. And let me say this to make you understand, because I know you praise Danny DeMonto a lot here, saying he's your friend and he's this. Well, let me tell you something. Give your friend some advice. He's going to need all the help he can get when he's going up against Phil Insane, because Phil Insane's not fucking around. Phil Insane is on a mission to destroy anyone that remotely knows Tommy Dreamer, anyone who's remotely connected to ECW. So good luck, Danny. Good luck, man. May God have mercy on your little soul. Brian Kendrick, the Brian Kendrick, taking on Encore. Do I have to tell you anything else? That's going to be a banger.
That's going to be a great match to watch.
So if you're not doing anything March 26th, I don't know what your plans are, but if you've got nothing cooking, take on the drive to Battlefield. Maybe come interfere in a match. I'd love to see that shit. I'll be calling the commentary.
Interject myself.
If you want, you can come beat the hell out of me. I'll show you what I sell. No problem.
Awesome.
Be all over the place. Anything else coming up? Go follow these guys. Battlefield Pro Wrestling Podcast, please. Go follow Outlaw Wrestling. Wrestling with Savage did sponsor them for the whole year. And go check out. Oh, actually, this already happened. Sorry, Tommy. I forget, just like you do. April 28th, Invictus. And that's it. I'm done giving out my cheap pops, man. Anything else you want to touch on, Tom? I could stay here all night with this guy. Tom's muted. It's okay, Tom. I understand. I get it.
There's a question from Willie P at the bottom. For Crowbar.
Did you ever break any bones during a match and continue to wrestle through it? Ouch.
Yes. Actually, a freak accident was I was working against Ricky Shane Page, one of my first match backs, and one of my favorite matches in recent memory as well. Great worker. I love working with him. And I backed him in the corner and I did the old snooker chop. And my pinky just got caught in his t-shirt, broke my hand. On something as simple as a chop, my finger just got caught in his t-shirt in a funky way, and boom. Crazy. Something as simple as that.
Savage is muted now.
Now I'm muted. Now I'm fucking up. Tom's got me messing up all over the place. Stay tuned wants to know, what was your favorite ring name that you had in your career? I'm assuming it's Crowbar.
I'd have to say so. That's where the majority of my success has been. So, Crowbar.
Did you ever have any other ideas for characters or gimmicks, or maybe like an ultimate tag team partner?
I like the look I have now. I was toying around with trying to find a new identity or name, but just Crowbar stuck. So here we are. I'm open to suggestions. That's always fun.
In general, do you prefer tag team or single wrestling?
I like them both a lot. I actually love tag team wrestling. I love old tag team wrestling where like you would watch TBS and you would get a tag match through commercial breaks. You know, one of those long epic tag matches. I'll say a tie. I really like both of them.
Okay.
I think you're currently the ISPW tag team champion.
We are the ISPW. Myself and Adam Payne, Percival.
Nice. That's what's up, man. Do you have any other current championships that we don't know about that you haven't defended in a minute?
No.
I know you were. I think you took. Did you take on Homicide for the Outlaw Championship too?
Yeah. He won it from me.
He won it from you.
Recently.
My God, we got to get you now. You have to take it back from Alpha. Alpha has it now.
Wow.
Good reason to hunt the Samoan, right there.
Absolutely.
Maybe you show up to the battlefield and challenge him for the Outlaw Championship. That's what I would do.
Wow.
Maybe. I want to know, do you have any advice for myself? Now, listen, normally I don't even ask for it because I don't need advice, but I'm going to be a little gracious now. I'm going to take off the glasses. Savage is gone, and George is here. George would like to know if you have any advice for an aspiring manager in the wrestling business.
Well, I'm on this show because I saw you at a few events, and I immediately took notice because you have character. You stay in character.
Appreciate you.
It can't be all that fun to go to the Queen's Brewery dressed in a suit. You know, it gets hot in there sometimes. You're there full gear, the sunglasses. You're in character. You're doing the shtick, and I think it's awesome. Anybody that does this, but it looks to me as somebody that watched wrestling, you look like a wrestling personality more than some kid wearing a t-shirt.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But any advice, though?
Not that there's anything wrong with that either. I'm just saying.
Screw those kids in the t-shirt.
You stand out because of what you're doing. You know, you're presenting yourself as a character. You come across as a character. You look like the part, and you do it very well.
I appreciate that, man. How about the bumps? First bumps in 20 years. Tell me the truth. You can be cruel. It's okay. Again, I only want to take manager bumps. I want nothing to do with wrestling bumps at all.
First one in 20 years, not bad at all.
I'm gonna pause it there, man. I'm gonna pause it there. Like, that's it. I don't want to show that third one. I'm trying, man. But yeah, any actual advice though for a manager? What should I do? Should I go to shows? Should I keep showing up? Should I run my mouth? Should I try to align myself with pro wrestlers? Should I cause chaos? What do I do?
I would practice your promos a lot each day. I think as I started the timeless black and white promos, there's a definite evolution from beginning to end, and just from doing it week after week after week, and just that repetition and that doing stuff over and over again, you get better. So always practice your craft. I think go to shows, meet promoters, give them your name, your card, give them some of your work. Or back in the day, we're bringing 8x10. Now can I get an email and can I send you my link or this or that? Just be visible, and whether you're going to be a manager, a referee, or a wrestler, I tell everybody, and you know this already, you already have this covered. We spoke about this. Always have plan B.
100%.
The reason why it's 32 years and I disappeared for a few years and I came back and forth. I have another career. You have plan B. And it's that plan B that has empowered me to really enjoy and have no pressure on whatever it is I'm doing right now. So pro wrestling is fantastic. I love it with all my heart, but it's not a very kind business as far as, being dependable for an income. So, you have to have something else. Some people say, no, you can't, because then you're already saying you're going to fail. I say that's not true at all. Follow your dreams, shoot for the stars, just do it responsibly. That's all.
Yeah, I know I have my primary source of income, my job that I would never replace with anything. The stars have aligned in a way that my wife goes to bed early, my son goes to bed early, allows me to be creative at night and do things like this, or talk about Raw, or talk about NXT, because I love wrestling. I always have. I that's why I do what I do now. If I didn't love wrestling, I wouldn't be able to do this. When I go to the shows and I watch the matches, as someone that took the bumps and someone that wrestled, I didn't have the career I wanted to have. I promise if you would have saw me in the ring when I was 16, you would have said, that's Kevin Owens before Kevin Owens was Kevin Owens. I was all over the fucking place. I used to do a pop-up power bomb, hop up, hit the ropes, huge elbow drop, and that's it. The match is over, man. You're done.
Done.
It was fun. I was a big guy, but it was a rough training, though. I'm not going to lie.
Sure.
Coming up in that era, like you said, the difference between today and then, massive. Yep. So it's a much safer time, So anybody out there that wants to be a wrestler, you need to look up Crowbar, watch all his matches. You can learn a thing or two. I'm very impressed with all your work over the last, 30 plus years. And I'm so excited to just see more of it, man. Keep it up. Don't stop grinding.
Thank you guys so much.
And I'd like to see more of that that side power bomb you do, and then you roll up the guy like a pretzel in that submission. What is that called, that submission? What is your name for it?
It has a name. I'm really not sure what the proper name is, and I haven't named it yet.
We need to do that this year. You should get a poll going on Twitter, and ask everybody on your Twitter page what they think that move should be called. Yeah, that's like a hot signature. I could see that being a WrestleMania moment, man. You just tapping someone out for the title.
I just describe it. I go, ever seen I'm going to put you up in the sky high, and I'm going to land in that old Liger rocking horse thingy, and like then ultimately now I have a picture of it on my phone, and I'll go, yeah, this thing. I don't even know what it's called.
Dude.
But it looks cool, it's unique, and it's safe.
Safe is the main word here, man. And like I said, this guy's got a match coming up. So if you want to meet Crowbar, come on down, watch him in action. March 24th in Totowa Tom's hometown. And I think, Crowbar, you should body slam Totowa Tom that day.
On principle.
On principle, in the middle of the ring. Yeah, Tom, you better put that cap down. We're coming for you, Tom. Everybody, Crowbar, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you guys so much.
You can hang out for like 30 seconds. I'm going to play a little intro, and then this is off the air, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Tom, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time right here on Wrestling with Savage. Everybody have a good night. Why are you yelling? I'm excited. Nice stiffy.
Pedigree, 1, 2, 3, brought to you live by the champ. Her last ride straight to hell, a tombstone, a choke slam. Here to give it to you raw. This is Wrestling with Savage. SmackDown, hold the title. This is Wrestling with Savage. What?
Wrestling with Savage begins now.